Okay.
Well. Hello there, you beautiful. Oh my god, we have John with 20 gifted memberships. That is way too generous, John. Thank you so very much. And to anyone who got a membership, make sure you check out the Discord, because if you have a membership, whether it's gifted or your own one, you get special roles on the Discord. Yes, indeed, you beautiful bee. You better believe it. And all the other people that are gonna be like, my god, that's some fancy colors. I wish I, as a common peasant, had those colors. And then you tell those people to come become members on YouTube. Because, wow.
Okay.
Oh yeah, imagine if we had like an April Fool's stream and I'm like, oh, welcome to r/Am I the Butthole? Well, today we're reviewing another subreddit. Oh my god, get pranked. I should totally go out for April Fool's. I mean, maybe it's a bit too late now. I should have thought about that earlier, but I should have gone out and do like YouTube pranks, you know, and just get cancelled. And then I'm like, but the prank was just a prank, bro. And then I can get away with it. You know, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. April Fool's shuts down stream. Oh my god, that'd be so good. Or it's just like a replay. And people have to figure out how long it takes. I wonder if I should try that at some point, you know. I like pre-record a stream and then I pretend to be reading chat, and hopefully there's enough people in the chat so people can't tell if I'm just like, you know, oh, I picked out chat messages that no one else saw or whatever. And it's like, you know, I just say more generic things where it's like, oh, wait, I'm not caught up in my super chats. Oh, thank you. Well, thank you so much for the 5, and thank you. Yes, indeed, I am having a good day. Thank you. Just like generic, so people think I'm responding to stuff they just happen to not see. And then, then I just see how long it takes for people to realize it's not live. Oh, my God. I wish American politics were a prank. Ooh, I found the best picture today. Hold on. I'm gathering materials for like an AI slop video. It's very funny because Facebook is like evolving with AI slop. And I found the one piece of AI slop I approve of, okay? And it's like one of those garbage ChatGPT generated ones where everything looks like Studio Ghibli. But this is what it looks like, baby. You see? Oh, wait, it's not focusing. Focus, you silly. Come on. Dear God, there we go. It's the red wave, baby. It's the red wave. I spoke to some very good people today, and they said America is doing so great. There's very good people that I'm not gonna name. It's doing so good. Wow. Well, there goes my fucking savings portfolio. You know, it's not like we were gonna have a retirement as millennials anyway, but now we're like double screwed. I'm not even American. Why am I getting railed by this? Anyway, absolutely gorgeous. How are y'all doing? I wish global warming was a prank. Yeah, I better grow a lot of trees so at least we have shade when it becomes unbearably hot, you know? It's gonna be great. Oh wait, we have some super chats. Also, somehow was the second person to like the vid. Thank you so much, Ivan. I saw you posted something as well. I didn't have time to read it, but thank you so very much for the super chat. Click reviewing memes only on April Fool. Oh my god. I just post like an r/something and it's r/something else. Wow, the deep jokes. Second stream, lol. Welcome in. I do hope you enjoyed the second stream. Yes. I am watching this on a school trip. Jets W. Wow. Trump lost the election. Happy April Fools. Oh, that would be the longest April Fool's joke ever. Jesus Christ, man. Oh my god. Right now I'm just watching stuff like in the news that are happening and on social media, and it's so weird, man. I feel like we ended up in like an alternate timeline. It's so strange, man. It's so like I'm watching all of it and everything is so surreal. Everything I don't get it, man. I don't get it. It's like past the point of, you know, I usually don't partake in like, how should I put it, petty politics. Because what you say can also be taken in vastly different contexts depending on the country. Like, I'm not American, for example. You know, that alone. But now it's like past the point where I'm like, how can anyone look at this and take it seriously? Like, oh my god, it's like a kindergarten sandbox, man. Bruh. Low-key tempted to just move to Canada at this point. With a bit of luck, Canada is gonna be the 51st state, baby. And then Greenland, I guess, is going to be the 52nd state. And then maybe we'll take Denmark as well while they're at it. I don't know, man. It's a little bit of a doozy of a timeline, isn't it? Watching American news in Europe feels like some weird reality show. It feels like a weird reality show. But it's also messing with my savings. I mean, it's going to be fine. As a millennial that started, you know, making any sort of real money just like a year or two before COVID, right? I felt like how many like little recessions do we have to go through, man? Bruh, like I graduated uni back in like, what was it, 2018 or something like that, I think it was 2018, right? And then it's like, oh yeah, I get to work for like a year and a half ish, and then COVID hits. And it's like, oh boy. And it's like couple more years, COVID's still going strong. Now there's war in Europe, baby. Oh, hell yeah. And now it's like, okay, now it's recovering. 2024 was actually a good year. Oh my god. And then it's like, bam, here comes the orange wave, baby. It's right in there. You had one good year. That's all you get. Man, Clicky is a hottie. At least I feel a bit good showing up here. It's just like a lot of compliments. Yes, indeed. Watching this in math. Also, we went to DC for a school trip and met Orange Man. He was so creepy. Oh no! Oh boy. Orang. It's like that old Among Us strat. You remember that from like peak 2020 vibes when everyone was in quarantine and playing Among Us? And if you just wrote like Orang in the chat as like a purposeful typo, everyone just voted out Orang for some reason. It was so weird. Wait, let me see. Should I put on some background tunes? Hold on. How is this? Oh. Wow. That's so soothing. I can turn it down a bit for myself and turn it up for chat instead. Is that a good volume, chat? I just want it to be low key, like a little background thing, you know, because it's not Friday in the least, but we can pretend it is Friday. Neona, thank you so much for being a lasso. Press A, thank you so much for being a lasso. Lady Lucifer, thank you so much for the 5, helping keep me sane during my lowest time. I hope you stay relatively sane. I mean, we are insane here, but like in a good way, I suppose. John, thank you so much for the 5. All the successful business... You know, one of my favorite things is realizing all like the old clips that surface. And you know, I'm normally not one for digging up past shit, right? Because everyone has said something stupid that has aged poorly. Like, we have all been an edgy 14-year-old in a gaming lobby, right? Like, digging up things like that is typically not very productive. But in these cases, I suppose it makes sense, because he was pretty old already at that point. It's not like he was an edgy 14-year-old. So, there is this news clip where right after 9/11, right? It's like right as it's like the same day, and they're interviewing like big business peeps and stuff in New York, and they put on Trump for whatever reason, and he's like, "Well, you know what, Steve? This morning we had the second tallest building on Manhattan, and now we have the tallest building, and I told him, Steve, this is great news. It's great news for our great people and our great building." It's like, bro, we can literally see, like, you know, the dust mushroom cloud in the background of the newscasting in this. Bruh. I think I started realizing more and more that I don't think he actually knows what he's doing. I think it's just like... He's just a business... We call it in Swedish, like, what do you even call it? Affärsbuffel. So it's like a business buffalo. You just... Because you're very aggressive, very pushy, very disagreeable, you push through what you want. And you know, if someone stands in your way, you make life hard for them until they bend. And you can get pretty far doing that if you have a bit of starting resources. Like, that's a pretty valid thing. Disagreeableness correlates pretty heavily with, like, a business success, if you will, because morals aren't profitable. But I thought he was smarter. But the more I listen to it, I'm just like... Is that all he does? Like, bruh, he's just picking fights with people, and now he's trying to pick fights with the world. What the fuck? It's so weird. It's so weird. Anyway, Haley Fox, thank you so much for being a member for 11 months. Thank you for an amazing 11 months. Huge fan. Thank you so very much. Welcoming you. Beautiful bean. Let's see. I was missing stuff. Gremlin, thank you so much for the 1, you beautiful bean. Ivan, thank you so much for the 20. Solly, my spelling is bad. Dyslexia sucks. Hey, welcome to the club. Also, birthday was click themed. Ooh, that is fucking cool. I'm jealous. Hell yes. Ashley, thank you so much for the 5. Ordered my emotional support demon the other day and should get it in a few days. Cannot wait, you're awesome. Click, thank you so very much, and I hope you enjoy the demon. That is so cool. I'm so happy we still have them in stock. If you don't have a demon, check it out. Permanent stock below. Absolutely amazing. And the good thing is that it ships much faster than the other campaigns we do, because it's already printed. It's already in stock. So you get it in like a week. It's amazing. Watching the click after recovering from the flu. I hope you feel better soon. Lilia, thank you so much for the last, you beautiful bean. Now, for real, just starts fights. It's crazy. I also love, like, all the tariff talks. And the thing is that, one thing I've realized, like, this is not, the intention is not to make this a political stream, we'll move on shortly, but one thing I realized is that whenever I watch something like this, like, take for example the interview they did with Zelensky or anything like that, it's just like rapid-fire misinformation. Or it's like taking things out of context, or it's going back on things that have historically, you know, been established as something else. It's absolutely wild. You can watch one of these things and it's like, oh, that's one piece of misinformation. Oh, that's another piece of, you know, an argument that is recontextualized. For example, when they were complaining about, like, where's all the money to Ukraine? And it's like, well, most of it is hardware, you know? It's not like actual cash. Some of it is, not all of it. And then it's like, Europe sends less, and it's like, no? Not really. Like, don't get me wrong. I think some countries in Europe should take their own military more seriously. It's good to be independent in that way, especially when the world looks the way it does, but... Bruh. And then it's also going back on things like, oh my god, Ukraine, this and that. I'm like, but you had an agreement from like ages ago with the US and Russia as well, for that matter, not that they can be trusted with those kind of things, that are like, Ukraine shouldn't have their own nuclear arsenal. And they signed agreements with both Russia and the US that, hey, you should step in if shit goes sour. So it's like, it's even an historical thing that they agreed upon as countries. And now it's like, oh, you should be grateful, blah, blah, blah. This was an agreement. What the fuck? That's just me side ranting, though. It's just ridiculous when you have a little bit of that story in the back of your head. And I'm not a history expert in the least, but this is like basic classic news. And just to like throw all out the window and just reframe it, it's so wild to me. It's so wild. And it's all like in national live TV. It's insane, man. My US heist. Class jokes about moving to Sweden. Hell yeah. I mean, Sweden has its quirks also, to be fair, but perhaps it's not as deranged in that way, at least. At least not yet. I saw a video that sums it up, the current presidency. Come on, everybody, buy a Tesla. Tesla, or the mice are transgender. I saw the whole Tesla thing. Like, okay. That's also something, like, if you just look at the sales numbers, okay, like, the Tesla stock, so much of it is branding, right? And the thing that blows my mind about it is that if you look back just a few years, Musk had such a good PR team. Like, he would do these stunts, you know, when he shot a car out into space, or he would randomly appear in episodes of, like, The Big Bang Theory. You know, they go to a soup kitchen in an episode of The Big Bang Theory, and fucking Musk is there, just pouring soup to people and be like, oh yeah, bruh, it's so good to help the less fortunate, right? He had an amazing PR team. Like, it was insane. His PR was through the roof, like 10 years ago. It was so good. And now it's like, okay, but you're calling... the people that would care about driving an electric car are kind of the same people who wouldn't take the things you're saying now particularly well, right? It's kind of like an audience capture, but in kind of a good way, I guess. You know, it's the same kind of reasoning when you look at YouTubers, for example. This is a good comparison, I think. When you look at YouTubers who get genuinely cancelled, right? Take, for example, a certain Pyramid Head, right? That I think we all know and are a bit too familiar with, right? That got cancelled to the point it did, not because what they did was the worst thing a YouTuber has ever done. Don't get me wrong, what they did was absolutely horrific, but, you know, it's not like they were, like, murdering children and, you know, diddling, you know. It's like, there are plenty of bad YouTubers out there that have done things on similar footing that haven't gotten as cancelled. But the reason that she got so cancelled that she did is that she preached, you know, that calling out shady companies and arguing against things like corruption. And then when you have an audience that cares about that kind of stuff, it's gonna be really bad when it turns out you do the same shit. You know? And that's the kind of thing, and it's the same thing that Elon Musk is experiencing right now. He had an audience of people that were like, oh yeah, electric cars are cool, you know, all this kind of PR-ness. Oh, he's like the quirky, cool billionaire and stuff. And then now all of a sudden it's like the opposite, and that whole audience leaves, you know. That's sort of how it goes. That's just me, like, making a very basic analysis of it. That's not even, you know, particularly taking a side in anything, even if it's pretty easy to do so. Mom is having surgery in the waiting room. I hope it goes well, Alex. I hope it goes well. And I'm happy you're there for her. John, thank you so much for the 5. Yours always stands by its agreement. Just ask a Native American. Ooh, we're going down some rabbit holes today. Any advice for someone moving to Sweden? I am escaping the loony bin. Thank you so much for the 10. Honestly, look at the various areas you can move to, because some of them can be a bit 50-50. Like, not all areas in Sweden are super safe nowadays. But there are a lot of areas that are, like, more affordable, that are slightly more further outside of the main cities, for example, that are still, like, safe and cozy and pittoresque. So just read up on the specific area before making a move. That's basically what every Swede will tell you, right? Which is a shame, but it's sort of the reality. Ivan, thank you so much for 20. Found my 3DS with the Tomodachi Life. Click got married to my mom in the game. What? Oh, that's amazing. Great. Wow. On a different note, happy belated Trans Day. Visibility to trans people in the stream, including myself. Thank you so much, Kim. That is absolutely amazing. A shout out to the peeps in the chat. Hell yes. Jesus Christ, John, thank you so much for 50 gifted members. That is insane. Oh my lord. What the hell? That is way too much. Everyone is going to be a member at this point. There's only going to be green names in the chat. Dear God. Hi, Click. Just did the natural Spanish exam, and also Dan and Phil announced their pregnancy. I'm so proud of them. Hell yes. That is amazing. God damn, half the chat is just like memberships. Aw, that's how we like it, baby. Hell yeah. John, please, I beg. Community gaycation when? Is that what it's called? When you have a destination meetup as a YouTuber? Instead of a destination wedding, you have a destination YouTuber meetup? I don't think that would work very well in practice. How would that even work? Like you rent an entire hotel and hope not too many people show up so there are no rooms? I think in my case there wouldn't be that many people showing up, to be fair. I don't think that many people would fly out to be like, oh my god, let's go to a hotel for memes. A destination gaycation or cottage gaycation? Ooh. A good question. A very good question. Kaylin, thank you so much for being a lasso, you beautiful bean. Mwah. I think you would be surprised. I hope so. That'd be really fun. Been watching your videos lately to de-stress. Thank you for helping me stay sane. Thank you so much for the 20, you beautiful bean. Thank you for the gift of gaycation time. Woo! Thank you for the 5, you beautiful bean. And Fluff, thank you so much for being a lasso. Okay, let's see. Should we switch over to a little bit of, I was gonna say gaycation, but story readings. And I was thinking today we could implement a nice little feature where I'm gonna do like votings. So you guys can vote on whether you think the person in the story is the butthole, right? It's gonna be amazing. I think it's gonna be really fun. Why do you sound Danish? That's a slur where I come from. Don't say... Why am I shaking? Because you noticed me. Hello, lol, blush emoji. Uwu notices you. Yes, indeed. Lizzie, thank you so much for being a lasso, you beautiful bean. My mom's ex loves Trump and the administration. That's great for them. It's really weird since we aren't even American. He loves transphobia and pro-life stuff. That's probably why. You know, one really useful thing that I have found when it comes to, like, for example, the abortion argument, right, is that if they're so deeply rooted in whatever belief it might be that makes them against abortion, most of them are hypocrites anyway, right? Like, you can just ask people who work in, like, abortion clinics, and it's quite often that the protesters outside of it will bring either themselves or, like, their daughters and stuff for abortions when something happens to them, because my situation is so different and they wouldn't understand, and like the irony is completely lost on them. It's kind of mind-boggling, really. Or, you know, those classic examples when you have like some high-up judge or Supreme Court blorp that's against abortion, but then it turns out their 13 mistresses all had abortions, you know, shit like that. But anyway, one pretty good thing, one like good, more factual argument that isn't based in morals is that a lot of things will still happen even if they're illegal, right? And abortion is one of those things. People aren't going to stop having abortions because you make it illegal. They're going to stop having safe abortions. And the same thing is true, for example, for alcohol, you know? The fucking, what is it, back in the 20s or whenever, when they outlawed alcohol. It's like, what happened? People were still drinking, it just turned into a massive black market. And nothing was safe anymore, and, you know, nobody dared call an ambulance if someone overdosed or whatever because it's illegal. So, like, there are plenty of things in the world where making something illegal doesn't make it go away. You just create a massive, unsafe underground system around it. And that balance, I think, is very important to maintain in society. So, even if you want to throw the morality out the window, that's very much the case with humanity, because that's how humans work. Ashley, thank you so much for the membership, you beautiful bean. Oh shit, I lost where I was at. Oh, there we go. Morbid, thank you so much for being a lasso. John, thank you so much for the 5. That 50 was a gift for Trans Day on Visibility. That's so cute. That is amazing. Hey Click, how you doing? Swedish Boyo from Norway. I'm doing well, thank you. I'm sitting here drinking my, like, caffeinated vitamin water that I got for a discount, so I'm trying it out. Let's see if I get, like, massive hyperactivity later on in the stream. If I do, you'll know why. Rixty, thank you so much for being a lasso, you beautiful bean. Oh god, here we go. Oh, the chat keeps, like, auto-scrolling, and I'm struggling to keep up. Love watching your videos while I craft. Currently working on my first fursuit. Hell yeah. You know, that's sort of my retirement strat. I mean, I don't know what a furry is. But if I did, I would like just open a P.O. box and be like, man, it would be a shame if someone sent me a fursuit, and then I could just sell them for like 10k a pop, and then I could retire. You know? Would that be scummy? Hello, Click. Hope everything is going well. Chilling at home my day off. Thank you so much for being a royal answer. That's way too generous. Wild conspiracy. Musk first made Tesla big and then turned alt-right to get conservative chuds to buy electric cars. But it's not really working, though. I mean, maybe with a Cybertruck. Abomination of a vehicle. Frey, thank you so much for gifting 5 members. That is so generous. Thank you so very much. Oh my god, the cat chat keeps chatting. I need to know. I lost a bet with my Swedish friend, and I have to name my future cat Atchoppa. I don't know how to pronounce Atchoppa. That's how you pronounce it, Atchoppa. It's pea soup. You know? The little green balls. And you make soup. And usually you have a bit of pork in it and stuff. Atchoppa. It's great. We have a tradition in Sweden where you have Atchoppa, pancakes, and punch, which is a very sweet liquor. It's like a Friday thing. It's like a Friday lunch thing. Haven't had it in many years, but they used to have it at an old office I worked at like 15 years ago, when I was like 19. So I would go there for my punch and Atchoppa. Hi, Click. Would you ever consider making an emotional support team that's based on Krampus? Imagine if it came with a detachable naughty sack. That'd be cool for Crimler. That'd be cool for Christmas. I kind of like that idea, maybe. If it works. I will consider it. That's a good idea. Yahoo, thank you so much for the 5. The April Fools is that Click just reads chat for 2 hours and then streams without Reddit. I just use it for clickbait. Can't share details, but my family is dealing with some heavy poo. I could use some love and support sent my way, please. All my ESDs are getting overwhelmed. Sarah, I do hope you're doing okay. And I know chat is here for you as well. I hope it gets better soon. Life is a bit of a roller coaster, isn't it? Please never stop with the dad jokes or puns. I won't. I'm gathering like all my dad points already. So far, I'm only the cool uncle, right? That buys way too many remote-controlled cars for the kiddos. And they're not very good at driving them, but they like to be chased by them for some reason. Is that bad, teaching kids that it's fun to run in front of cars? Anyway. No, Click, you are daddy. Wow, that message disappeared quickly. There are never enough remote-controlled cars. Agree. I have a remote-controlled car. Do I have it here? I do. Yeah, I do. Check this out. This is fucking insane. Check it out. Okay, so this baby. Let's see if it's charged. Yeah, it is. Okay, cool. Okay, let me just check my camera so I know if it's like visible. Okay, this fucking car is very lightweight, right? And I showed this to my nephew when I got it, because it's very simple. It just has a couple of buttons, right? And it can drive around like a normal car, if the remote works. There we go. Like it just drives around like a normal little ass car. But what this one can do is it can also climb walls, which is pretty cool. And I showed it to my nephew when he was like 2 years old. And I think it was a mistake, because for a good month or so, he thought all cars could climb on walls. So as soon as he had another, like, toy car, the first thing he would do is always put it on the wall and wonder why it fell down. Okay, anyway, I'll show you, because I can't, like, just tease it. Let's see, where can I do this? Maybe on the door? I'll do a brief demonstration on the door. Check this out. It can't drive over patterns very well. Oh, baby. Oh, yes. Oh, there we go. You see? It's very fun. So, I made the mistake of showing that to my nephew, and he thought all cars could drive on walls for a while. It was kind of funny, right? So it's pretty simple. Like, how it works, I bought it partially because I wanted to know how it works, right? And Let's see, do I have anything I can try it on? I have... No, it's gonna be too uneven. Maybe I have this one. Would it work on this? Oh yeah, I have this card that I got from Sam, my editor, that says Bruv, Merry Christmas in it. So anyway, I'm gonna use it to demonstrate the car. And how this works is that it's very lightweight. You see, it's very like a plastic shell, and then it only has 2 tiny wheels, so it's constructed to be very lightweight. So when it turns, it doesn't actually have any gears that turn around. It just like spins more on one wheel instead of the other, right? But how the thing works is that it's super lightweight, and then you have these little rubber things around the bottom, and then you have this suction here. It's like a Roomba. So it basically just sucks to the wall, like this. And it can even drive like upside down, which is pretty fun, right? So that's how it works. Maybe I shouldn't have spoiled it. Maybe I should have let chat like try to figure it out. It's very fun. I want that car, give us a link. I don't remember what it's called, but I think I got it on Amazon. It was like... It's called an Air Hog. So it's an Air Hog. The brand is Air Hogs. I think it was like $30 on Amazon, something like that. It's pretty fun. Such a good prank item. It is very fun, and it's very good for like mind-blowing small kids. It's very entertaining. Make an ESD suction car. I'll have to ask Makeship how their suction car department is going. Foxy, thank you so much for the 10. My roomie just let me know they got their tires deflated for April Fools. This has improved our day, to be honest, so have a joke. What's a hamburger's favorite place to go on New Year's? To the meatball. Lizzie, thank you so much for the 5. My name is actually Lex. This is an old account from before I came here. Ah, I see. Thank you, Lex. Okay, let's see. What did I miss? I probably missed something. Ah! Okay, there we go. I have the same pajama pants on. Oh, hell yeah. They're very comfy. They're very comfy. Alright, I'm gonna switch screens now before I forget that we actually came here to read cursed stories. Booyah, but I'll still interact with little chatty waddy. Oh, yes, at all. I'm excited to get my ESD glow-in-the-dark keychain. My mom has it right now, but I'm visiting her soon for a concert. I just got mine! I just received them the other day. So I have a ton of little keychains laying around. It's so good. I need to find some place to put them, honestly, because my life is overflowing with it. I've given little plushy keychains to everyone I know. So everyone has now. Like all my friends, all my family members, all my extended family, everyone has a little plushie on their bag, right? I don't have anyone left in my life to give them to. It's insane. I have oversaturated the plushies in my life. Okay, let's see. I'm just gonna turn down the music slightly. There we go. My nephew, when he wasn't even 2, was able to get car tires to go down even with the... if given the correct tool. That's really cool. That's cool. Wow, what a gifted little poo. Okay, so chat, what I'm gonna do is read these stories. This is like r/IamTheDevil, so it's gonna be like very a-holey stories, which I think is funny. But I'm still gonna let you vote if you think the person in the story is the butthole or not. Okay? So pay attention. This is important for the whole class, right? Very important. There will be a test later on. Am I the butthole for telling my brother-in-law to get over himself and to quit holding a 10-year-old grudge? Why brother-in-law? Okay, anyway. My brother-in-law, married to my sister, is a general contractor. About 10 years ago, my dad and brother was building a deck at my parents' home. They asked my brother-in-law if they could borrow his skid loader, but he said no. They prepared the ground as best they could without the skid loader, but got to a point they couldn't go on without it. They went to my sis' house to ask again, but found out that brother-in-law went out of town. They talked my sis into letting them borrow it, so she took them down to his construction lot, and they hooked it up to Dad's truck. The next part I'm not sure of since I don't know much about towing, but from what I was told, Dad's truck wasn't big enough or powerful enough to tow the skid loader on the dump trailer, so he lost control and wrecked. Okay, so Okay, so the brother-in-law's grudge against this guy is that he destroyed something very expensive, right? And he's not very interested in lending him things again. Yeah. I would have an ESD, but my parents are against it. Aw, man. The truck trailer and skid loader were totaled. The insurance was barely enough to cover the medical cost in the truck. There was none left over to cover brother-in-law's stuff. When he got back to town, he exploded. Wait, so no one actually told him that his stuff was totaled. He just got to come back home to everything destroyed. Wow. He threatened to sue, and things just went downhill from there. My parents are not rich, and he wouldn't have gotten anything. So in the end, Sis talked him into letting it go. How much does a skid loader cost? How much does it cost? Count Dude, thank you so much for the lasso, you beautiful bean. However, from that day on, he wouldn't have anything to do with our family. He doesn't come for birthdays, holidays, nothing at all. I mean, I would also like... Wait, hold on, I'm just gonna... I was just reading ahead for context. Let's get something straight. My dad and brother are not bad people. They're good people who made a mistake. They couldn't pay back brother-in-law because he wanted almost $70,000. And again, we're not rich. Dad had to buy another truck because he needed it for work. Okay, yeah, so... it was kind of expensive stuff, right? I'm gonna be honest. If someone just borrowed my shit, I don't think I even have anything that's worth $70,000. I'm gonna be honest. But even if I did, take something smaller. Take my, like, entire setup here, my studio setup, right? It is not worth anywhere near $70,000. But I can just imagine, like, I don't know, a family member or a friend or something that comes to visit, and they, like, borrow it without asking, and just break the entire thing. And they don't even tell me, and I come home and I'm like, what the fuck? I would ghost the shit out of that. That is so disrespectful and expensive. However, from that day on, he wouldn't have anything to do with our family. He doesn't come for birthdays, holidays, nothing at all. Next month is our parents' 50th anniversary, and we're planning a big family gathering to celebrate. We're also chipping in to send our parents on a cruise to Mexico. Maybe you should chip in to cover the brother-in-law's $70,000 of destroyed shit. Maybe that should be a anyway. Because they have never been out of the country. I spoke to Sis about it the other day, and she said she's coming with the kids, but the brother-in-law is not coming. I was fine with that, but when we were discussing their portion of the cruise money, I heard him yelling in the background to deduct their portion from the cost of the skid loader and dump trailer. Honestly, fucking valid. That pissed me off. That pissed me if. So after my call with Sis, I called brother-in-law and told him to get over himself. You know the funny thing about people like this? I can almost guarantee that OP in this situation would be equally, if not more, petty. I wouldn't even call it petty. I would call it justifiably outraged. But he would act the same way, if not way worse, if the same thing were to happen to him, if the roles were reversed, right? Like, no one is happy to have people come to your place, destroy your stuff without even asking, not even telling you, and then you come home to the surprise and they won't even try to reimburse you. Like, bruh. And then they're asking you to chip in for, like, expensive gifts for other people in the family when they still haven't paid for the stuff they destroyed. Nah, man. Nah. I told Dad, and bro made a mistake, but that was 10 years ago. I mean, imagine those 70 grand, though. If you put those 70 grand in a damn index 10 years ago, that would have been like 200k by now, bro. That would have been fucking 200k. Fuck. Anyway, he needs to let it go. He said he'll let it go when they give him the money he lost. I told him he's an ass for holding it onto a grudge and putting money in the way of family relationships. Okay, but aren't you guys the ones putting money in the way of family relationships? That's a house. Yeah, that's like a starter home in an affordable area. You know? It's insane. Or a down payment for a fancy house. You know? It's like, bruh. 70k is literally your salary for a lot of people. I wasn't making 70k a year when I worked as an engineer, right? Like, 70k is a fuckload of money. Okay? Especially after tax. And especially if you're saving it. Like, even if you have a good job, let's say you make 100k a year or whatever, that doesn't mean you can save 70k a year. You know? Like, first you have taxes and then all expenses and probably a mortgage or rent or whatever it is, and then maybe family and expenses and cars and stuff. Like, saving that much money takes a long-ass time. A long-ass time. I think something like... I don't remember how much it is, but if you invest it... I was reading a statistic a while ago, and it was something like a typical person that earns like a decent living and doesn't have too much expenses, like, you know, rent doesn't eat up their entire earnings, you know, and you have the luxury of being able to save a bit and you invest it wisely, you can save 100k in maybe 10 years. Something like that. Like, I think that's a pretty, like, reasonable expectation. Like, if you work full-time, you save, you put it in decent investments, yada yada, you can save like 100k in 10 years. Something like that. That's a pretty reasonable, like, expectation for just, like, normal working adults. But, and that doesn't go for anyone, mind you. That goes for, like, if you have that sort of, like, you know, extra earnings. You don't live paycheck to paycheck, you don't have 3 kids to take care of, you know, etc. That's just assuming you have money left over. 70k is like 7 years of my existence, just straight up, not savings. Yeah, that too. Like, imagine how many months of rent 70k is. Oh my lord. Sis called me a few minutes ago and said they're not coming and that I was out of line. We argued for a bit and that's where it stands. I don't think I'm wrong for telling him to let go of the past. It's 70k, man. It's 70k. Like, even if you want to make the argument that, ooh, family is worth more than money. Well, money is also time, right? And you were the one who destroyed someone else's thing. Imagine how many of his work hours and his time and the time of his life that you took away from him and didn't reimburse, because that's all the, like, all the hours he spent at work to buy that thing. Man, I think maybe that makes it a bit more empathetic. But they're not coming to the anniversary party, so now I'm not sure. Answer to your questions. How does this have 14,000 upvotes? Maybe it's because people think it's a spicy story. Gotta go to class. You've been so nice. And finally, Lasso. Hell yeah, Lizzie. Thank you so much for the 5. And Toby, thank you so much for being a Lasso. You beautiful bean. With 70k, I can buy a shitty, apparently, apartment, I mean. But an apartment nonetheless. Hell yes. Can they not pay back at least a little bit? They haven't even tried to make up for them. Yeah, that would be my attitude. Like, if I was responsible, or partially responsible, for the destruction of something expensive, you know, for one of my friends or family, even if I couldn't afford the whole thing, I would do my darndest to at least, like, replace what I could. Like, man. Let's get something straight. My dad and brother are not bad people. X to doubt. They stole and destroyed his property, didn't repay him, and expected him to treat them as family. I know, right? And they didn't treat him as family. That's the thing. Family doesn't steal your stuff and destroy it. That's not what family does. This is like very... yeah, one-way street sort of relationships where it's like, you have to treat me like family, but I'll treat you like ass. And then they'll use the excuse, you know, like, oh, blood is thicker than water. It's like, why aren't you treating me like that? Why aren't you treating me like I am thick? Huh? With 70k, I could buy some Pokemon cards because I'm an idiot. Honestly, might be a valid investment. Like, man, imagine if you had bought like a Charizard 10 years ago. Bruh. They are good people who made a mistake. They couldn't pay back brother-in-law because he wanted almost $7,000, and again, we're not rich. We just borrowed, stole a very expensive thing and broke it. Dad had to buy another truck because he needed to go to work. Oh, boo-hoo. You were the one who destroyed things. Yeah, who else would have bought your truck after you totaled? Dear God. On the other hand, brother-in-law has 3 other sets of skid loaders and dump trailers on his lot to this day that he could take the financial hit while my parents would be homeless. Yeah, but I think... Okay, you borrowed it without permission. You obviously don't have any kind of insurance, or whatever, to cover this thing when it went wrong. And you didn't even try to reimburse it. Like, it's okay, like, oh, we did a stupid thing. We're gonna try our best, you know? Or I'm gonna buy a cheaper replacement truck for myself and give you, like, the in-between money, or something like that. Like, you can at least try. But you didn't even try. And then you're pulling like, I don't even know what this is, like some wannabe privilege card. And it's like, but you had a bit of leftover money, so it's okay that we just destroy your shit and steal it. Bruh. Oh my, bruh. Like, that argument you use when it's like a single mom who stole a couple of diapers from Walmart, okay? I could buy the argument in that context. Not with your family, man. Come on. Brother-in-law and sis are way better off than the rest of us. While I understand your reasoning of paying brother-in-law back, he doesn't need it. But you're just being a butthole, okay? If I put it this way, what reason could he possibly have to keep you in his life? You have proven that what you're gonna do is to, like, invade his boundaries, steal his stuff, well, borrowing without asking, but it's basically stealing, destroying his stuff, and then insisting on not replacing it because you have more money. Like, I'm gonna be honest, if I had someone come into my studio, for example, without permission, without asking, right, like a friend or whatever it might be, and they, like, accidentally just fry my entire computer, I would be really pissed if they were like, but you probably have more savings than I do, so I shouldn't pay you back for the thing I destroyed. Huh? Huh? Ugh. Bro, if I was OP, I would have apologized instead of a freaking payment plan. Yeah, me too. I would have been like, I'm so sorry. I don't have that kind of money, but I'm gonna set aside... I don't even know, like, how much money you were able to save. I'm gonna set aside $500 a month and just, like, do my best to pay you back over time. There you go. It's not even without asking permission. The permission was actively denied. Wait, was it? Wait. They asked my brother-in-law if they could borrow his skid loader, but he said no. They got to the point, oh my god, they went to my sis and asked again and found out brother-in-law went out of town. They talked my sis into letting them borrow it. Yeah, so they steamrolled the sister, basically. Oh my god, he actually said no. I skimmed past that part. No. Oh my god. So he actually said no. It's not just like they asked the sister instead of asking him directly and then destroyed it, right? And it's like, we technically had permission. No, he actually said no. But then they, like, strong-armed the sister when he was away. Oh, they just stole it. They just fucking stole it. The cruise to Mexico isn't some millionaire trip. The total cost is about $3,000. Well, that's almost 5% to paying him back. If you didn't do that, you know, that's a good start. And it'll take over 20 people to pay for that. Again, we're not rich. Why do you keep repeating this? It's like we destroyed someone's property and we stole their property, but we're justifying it. Like, is this a justification you're gonna use again? What happens next time you're gonna do something and, like, you steal his truck or something like that and total it, and it's like, oh, but it was okay this time too because we're broke. Shrug emoji. With friends like this, who needs enemies, right? Holy shit. We can barely cover $3,000 to spend over 20 people. There is no way we can pay $70,000. You didn't even try. Your family stole $50,000 in work equipment from your brother-in-law. They didn't pay him back by the sounds of it, showed zero remorse, and he should just get over it. You and your family sounds massively entitled. Your brother-in-law is smart to cut the lot of you clean off. That's what I would do too. Let's do a poll. Let's see. Is OP the butthole? Oh wait, no, that was wait, it has to be there we go, voting. Is OP the butt? Yes or no? Maybe we should just have 2 yeses. Is OP the butt? Is OP the butt? Holy shit, 99%. Oh my god, there's one vote on no. That's probably OP lurking the chat. Oh man. Oh, bruh. Damn, that's a reality check for OP. God damn, bruh. God damn. Like, usually if I was reading a story about, like, financial situations or whatever, usually it's pretty easy to take the side of, like, the little guy, right? I think we do that quite a lot when reading stories about, like, shitty bosses or, you know, unfair work compensations or whatever it might be. Like, you know, it's kind of easy to be on the side of the little guy most of the time because, man, the world we live in is kind of whack. But in this case, you're just an entitled asshole. Like, you stole and destroy something, and then you don't even show remorse, and then you're like, but you did, maybe if you weren't such a jackass and destroyed expensive stuff, maybe you could afford it for yourself. Have you thought about that? Oh my god. It was an accident, I didn't mean to click it! Oh, shame! Shame! I should have the shame clock. The ding ding! Shame! Ding ding! Shame! Ding ding! 98% butthole. God damn. God damn. Alright, we can probably finish. Ooh, 1,000 votes. There we go. Hell yeah. Let's finish this one. What's the total count? Okay, it doesn't actually show the total number. It just shows percent. That's a bit of a bummer. Anyway, so is OP the butt? 97% yes, 2% no. Must be a bit of a rounding thing. So basically 98% yes. I would say we have determined scientifically that OP is the butt. Shame. Shame. Do I have a clock? Do I have something that I can use as a clock? I need to get a clock. A bell, I think it's called in English. Like a brass bell, right? That's what it's called. It's the same word in Swedish, like clock. Anyway. Shame. Ding ding. Shame. Ding ding. Shame. Ding ding. That's amazing. We should vote after every story. That's the idea. That's the idea. Oh, this is the one. I haven't actually read this one, but this is the one that inspired me to make the thumbnail for this one, right? The Vogue Mind virus. I lost a friend of 6 years to the left's hysteric fear-mongering. Like, okay, that's great. That's an interesting title. My god. My god. Ding ding! Wow. Holy shit, okay. What the fuck? How can we have all of this at once? Locked post. Archived post. Removed. Bruh. Okay, do we have it in, like, the auto mod? Is it archived? It doesn't look like it. Is it archived in, like, the OG? Is it archived here? Sometimes it is. Auto mod. Here it is! Yes! Yes! It's archived here. Okay, booyah, baby. Here we go. I was told I have... Oh my god. ALS, that was 17 years ago. Oh, hell yeah! Worst day to get diagnosed. I am getting the last lap. I'm still going strong lol with you. That is amazing. You beat it by 12 euros already and still going. Fuck yeah, that's amazing. That is so cool. Hell yes. Booyah. Slay Queen Yath. Unironically. Hell yeah. I lost a friend of 6 years to the left's hysteric fear-mongering. To start, never associated with the left, the first political thought I ever had was how Hillary was much more worthy of mockery than Trump back in 2016. This is very America stuff, right? Fresh up Pokemon Go to the polls. Okay, fair enough. This was cringe as hell. This was, so far, I can agree with the fact that this was cringe as hell. Okay? Like, bruh. Regardless, I feel like this is the only reasonable sized community I can tell this story to. I had a left-leaning Dutch friend 6 years ago. Despite what man might infer about that statement, politics was never a major topic in our conversations, and I would get remarkably brazen with jokes that revolved around mocking the extremes to the left. I mean, left-right stuff. It's also a very, like, America way of seeing the world. Like, for example, say when I compare, for example, American politics to Swedish politics, for example, a lot of topics are quite different. Like, take, for example, stuff like gay rights or whatever, LGBT rights, isn't particularly much of a hot topic in Sweden in the same way, because no one is really actively arguing against it in any major capacity, right? At least at the moment, what I'm aware of. There's probably some idiot politician representing something that has said something, but it's like, in the US, it's very like, here is the left package, here's the right package. And that's very binary compared to like how a lot of other countries work. Not saying that other countries have perfect politics or whatever, but this is a very like specifically American thing. I have a feeling I was slowly but surely red-pilling them. Guiding them away from the very extremes I would mock. I mean, to be fair, extremes are really insufferable no matter which side they're on, right? I have experienced both in my days, but to me this reads more like someone who's a little bit of a butthole, who's just like annoying their friend, if I'm gonna be honest. For a time, I was even in love with them. All of this fell apart when I tried to tell them that the RVW overturn... Oh, the Roe v. Wade. Okay. Overturn wasn't some apocalyptic event. Well, I don't think anyone is saying that that thing in of itself is an apocalyptic event, but it's definitely like a step in the hugely wrong direction. And if it keeps going in that direction, it's gonna be bad. It's really bad, and it's gotten bad in certain places already. Like, bruh. To try and save them from getting transformed into a doomer. I mean, you can tell your friends being like, hey, it's important to stay up to date with topics, but that doesn't mean you should spend 24-hour doom scrolling. Like what I usually say regarding this kind of stuff. This is not what how I would do this in the least, but I usually tell people, and this is something I think is important to tell, especially young people that spend a lot of time online, that sitting in like doom scrolling Twitter, for example, doesn't actually help anyone, right? It's good to stay up to date with things because it means that you can make informed decisions when it's time to vote, you can discuss topics with your friends or people around you, and it's just good to be informed in general, right? But you sitting and being anxious in your bedroom doesn't actually help anyone. Feeling shitty about things isn't a moral positive, right? It only affects yourself. And that's sort of, I usually say, like, pick your battles, right? And there comes a lot of, especially in the world of like content creation and public figure stuff, I have realized that there's a lot of weird things. Like one thing, this is a bit of a side tangent, so bear with me, but one thing that comes to mind about this like negative mindset but not doing anything good is, for example, what I like to call the charity paradox. And the charity paradox is basically that when I as a creator have experienced the most shit for not doing more charity is when I'm actively in the charity campaign, right? The only time in my career when I get like nasty messages or hate comments or whatever it is about like, why did you choose this charity instead of this charity? Don't you think that insert horrible thing happening is important? You think this is a blah blah blah? And I was like, okay, well, this is actively going to encourage people to do less charity. Because if I don't do any charity work at all, I don't hear from you assholes in the least. I just don't hear about this at all. So you actually get more nasty stuff sent your way if you do something good, because they believe that the good thing you did either wasn't big enough or it wasn't the correct good thing that they are thinking about right now. And they're a bit of a main character, and so on and so forth. So they would also land in some kind of doomer category, but with a bit of a main character twist. And that's kind of like what I would like to call the charity paradox. To be clear, that doesn't dissuade me from doing stuff that I want to do anyway, because these people aren't worth listening to in the least. But there are a bunch of those things that is important to talk about, because you need to be able to filter out what is worth a critique or not. And the same thing goes with doom scrolling and stuff. It's good to be up to date with things, but it's important to realize that if you tank your own mental health, you're not going to be able to help anyone else either, right? It's kind of like, you know, if you only exhaust yourself with doom scrolling and anxiety, you won't have any energy to do the things that actually can make a difference, you know? Anyway, they turned into a completely different person. They did not directly respond to a single thing I said. They did not display an ounce of goodwill. Not once did they try to persuade me towards their argument in a reasonable way. They went ballistic. Okay. It was genuinely horrifying to witness a friend of 6 years dying before my eyes and being replaced with another leftist puppet, dancing on strings they don't even know are there. I feel I witnessed the rotten fruits of pure evil that day, and it will stick with me forever, a grim reminder of what must be opposed. The rotten fruits of pure evil. This sounds like cult talk, to be honest. Like, don't get me wrong. I have met plenty of people in my day who, for example, will pick up a progressive label, but they're very obviously a shit person. You know? That definitely happens. But this doesn't sound like that. I'm gonna be honest. And there are also people that get way too deep into stuff. For example, one thing that I realize online, for example, is that I think the online world is very good at, like, splitting people like this, and everyone just gets further and further apart. Like, you have, you know, the red pill edgelords, which I find fascinatingly laughable. And then you have the opposite side, which is like the kind of like old school Twitter-esque. I mean, the word woke is overused in like a comedically stupid fashion, but I think you know what I mean. Like, the reason I closed my DMs on Twitter, for example, was because I got so tired of having people reach out to me and be like, "Don't you realize this person you're following is actually problematic?" And it's like, yeah, I follow a lot of stuff. That's how I find posts for like r/facepalm. You know, I don't follow it because I support it. You know, but it's good to stay up to date, and sometimes I want to talk about stupid things. You know, the word woke doesn't sound real anymore. I know, right? It's when you say a word too much, woke, it loses the meaning, right? So, you know, I can relate to the fact that there are insufferable people that identify one way or another, but this doesn't sound like it. This sounds like I have a friend who's from a different country even, and it sounds like you are the one who's, like, going down sort of a rabbit hole. You know? By the person's own recollection, their friend said very little to nothing about politics over the years, while the poster was joking and prodding to the point they thought they had red-pilled them. Yet the friend is the problem for talking about their political beliefs and blowing up the friendship. All the comments are about the left pushing their beliefs on others, when it was the poster pushing their beliefs on their friend for years. I mean, there isn't a lot of context, but some of the wording surely stands out as a bit of red flags on this one. Like, it's a weird thing to make. Like, meh. Thanks for always bringing a smile to my face, doing another Depression episode. Greens from Germany, best wishes to you all. Thank you so much for the 5. I do hope you have a wonderful day. OP's lack of empathy is really showing. If it's not a problem to him, it's not a problem. Yeah, and it's also the wrong way to talk about it. Like, if you're actually concerned about a friend or someone you care about, spending too much time doom scrolling, for example, you can talk about it in a different way. It's not like, oh, you're wrong about this thing. It's like, well, this thing has happened. It sucks. But it's important we don't over-focus on the negative. Because then you're going to be incapacitated for the things that are good as well. I feel like there isn't enough information to make a true estimation on who's a butthole. I mean, yeah, there's very little context. It could also be that, you know, the other person is strange as well, but it sounds more from the way they talk about it that they're like, the friend is concerned about the abortion right topic, for example, and they are being kind of like rude and weird about it. So the way it's written makes me lean towards like the OP being kind of odd about it and way too aggressive and not very empathetic about the friend's concerns. But at the same time, I've also seen people go down into doom scrolly circles where you get too absorbed about bad news. So I think both sides have a point, but I don't think he did it well. Does that make sense? I want to see, if you're a woman, read this. Oh god. OP is trying to save face and make their friends sound crazy. Oh, let's do the vote! Let's do the vote! We need to do the vote. Is OP the butt? Yes? No. Oh, here we go, baby. The scientific truth. Oh, yes. OP blew up a friendship over one difference in opinion. That's actually true. That's kind of 99%. God damn. God damn, baby. Oh, man. I mean, we are on r/AmITheDevil, to be fair, but whew, sheesh. Okay. If you're a woman, read this. Removed. Okay. But we have the auto mod, right? It's saved. It's immortalized. Oh, it's a passport bro post. Okay. Yeah, I kind of want to get into this one. This one sounds juicy. Is OP the butt? 98%, yes. Real democracy. Not a passport, bro. It is a passport, bro. Ooh, maybe like a joke, because it's the 1st of April, I should just like switch the order of the yes and no, so I'll put the no on top and see how many people vote the wrong way. If you're a woman, read this. This post does not condone any illegal activities. Okay, that sort of gives me an odd vibe if you have to like preface a Reddit post with that. Hi ladies. I will share one perspective that more or less represents how most men on the sub feels and why they are here. I'm in my 30s. When I was younger, I did okay in dating prior to Tinder's debut. Fast forward to 2024, I had just finished the Marine Corps. I was and still am in great shape. I'm tall, got into bodybuilding, had a hair transplant, under eye fillers, skin treatments, and so on and so forth, tripled my income. I went from being a 5 to a solid 7.5 on a scale from 1 to 10. If there's one thing I've learned when it comes to dating in my years, is that the stuff that is measured as stereotypically or conventionally attractive or whatever, you know, like, oh, he's making 6 figures, 6 feet tall, has a 6-pack, you know, that kind of stuff. It only, unless your chemistry with the person is there, the personality is there, it might get you like, I don't know, casual sex. But I've heard from people, for example, that have a lot of things going for them, like they're very good looking and that sort of stuff, but they struggle finding a date because they're too needy, for example, and they're too insecure. So I think if you start putting too much numbers on stuff, it's important to work on yourself, and self-improvement and all that, I'm all for it, but as soon as like we start talking about numbers like this in like a serious way, I get very skeptical vibes. I moved from Romania right after the military only to see what it was like. Been here for almost a year. I went to the US to visit my family for 2 weeks, and a girl I was interested in said she wouldn't be able to meet again for almost a month because she was too busy with work. Keyword, she's not really interested, but she's letting you down lightly, okay? Like, one thing I have learned in dating is that if you're really, really interested in something, you will make time. It doesn't mean that, like, oh my god, you can meet on 1 day's notice, but, you know, if someone is genuinely interested in going out with you, like to that extent, unless they're traveling or something, they will probably book something this week, you know? And everyone can, like, unless you're running 52 companies, you know, you can spare a 30-minute after work, you know? So because I'm not a 10, she literally didn't care. What? But this was a girl you were interested. I mean, okay, dear God. Oh my God. Bruh, what? So someone wasn't interested. Jesus Christ, okay. My message to you is this. I shed blood, sweat, and tears to become the man I am today. And there is no way in hell I will go back to dating in the US. Because this one girl didn't like you? Is that what? Is that why? That seems like an oddly small sample size. Like, if you want to talk about Tinder and stuff, like, if I were to give advice to, like, you know, a 20-year-old dude or something that was going on Tinder, I'd be like, yeah, most people on Tinder are gonna be normal people, right? I don't think Tinder is a good place because the demographic difference alone makes it skewed and weird, but of course there are people there that will take advantage of it. Like, there are people on Tinder, say, one out of 20 people will only be there to get free meals, and a decent portion is only there to get attention or get followers for their Instagram, for example. Like, not everyone who goes on Tinder are there for the same purpose as you are, and I would argue they're wasting people's time. I don't like it, but I don't think it makes them the devil and it's worth being super upset about. Just don't use Tinder, it's trash, right? But that doesn't mean it's like, oh my god, every single female in the world is so evil and bad. It's like, bro, you matched with a couple of, like, OnlyFans girls who wanted to promote their OnlyFans. Like, I don't think Tinder is the place to do it, but I'm just gonna not go on Tinder. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Tinder is shit. We all know it's shit. Like, we all know that if you go on Twitter, for example, your replies is gonna be full of OnlyFans bots. Like, this is... Yeah, it's not good, but I'm not gonna demonize an entire gender because of it. Erica, thank you so much for the Swiss francs, you beautiful bean. Anyway, I shed blood, sweat, and tears to become the man I am today. This also reeks of, like, weird entitlement, right? I don't expect anyone to be magically interested in me because I've been working out. Like, no, what are you talking about? And there is no way in hell I will go back to dating in the US. I get treated like a king in Romania and I'm appreciated there. With that said, you do not have the right to tell us how to conduct ourselves overseas. Okay. What are two consenting adults doing behind closed doors is none of your business. Women in Western countries are no qualm about taking advantage of men for their resources. At least overseas, we get appreciated for it. This also speaks like, you know, I have a sample size of 5 because I had a couple of bad Tinder dates. It's like, man. One thing I like to reiterate is that on dating apps like Tinder, you do have a very skewed density of stuff you wouldn't see IRL. You know, on Tinder, 1 out of every 5 matches as a dude is gonna be an OnlyFans bot, right? In real life, I don't really have women come up to me to advertise their OnlyFans, I'm gonna be honest. You know, it's the kind of phenomenon that gets really amplified on specifically a platform like that. It's a really weird thing to use Tinder to demonize women in general. You know? Does that make sense? For men, like myself, who hop from bed to bed, keep in mind we are a small minority. There aren't nearly enough men to ruin women. This is a problem only in the West because poorer countries do not have this issue. Women still pair bond with locals due to financial dependence. And that's a good thing. I would want my partner to be independent enough that they actually choose to be with me, not because they're forced to, because they literally can't own a bank account. Lastly, there is no way on God's green earth we're not going to let you infiltrate one of the only men's spaces we have left. Jesus Christ, man. What is this post? This is so weird. I don't even know where to start, man. I don't even know where to start. Dear God. Moral of the story, go outside. Basically, yeah. It's kind of like... take another one of those, like, very... trendy topics, right? I think it's more of an American topic, I'm gonna be honest, because I don't really see it here. I only see it online. But it's like height in men, for example. And it's like, is there a bias in height in men? Yeah, there definitely is. There is a certain height thing that is correlating with, like, conventional attractiveness. Does that mean that you're screwed unless you're 6'5"? Well, no. Go outside. You'll see all sort of couples walking down the street. Will you have more success on, like, a hookup app like Tinder if you are conventionally attractive? Well, yeah, of course. People are only looking for skin-deep relations, right? Of course it's gonna be more beneficial. But if you look at people having relationships and dating IRL and stuff, it's like every single person has so many correlating factors. You know, if I were to use people around me I know and try to make some kind of mathematical model to what makes you successful in dating, it would be everything from, like, looks, but also its sociability, for example. The person I know who, I mean, I haven't counted it, if that makes sense, but I think out of my friends, the one I believe at least has been the most successful with dating when we were in our 20s isn't the tallest guy, it's not the richest guy, it's nothing like that. He was the most sociable guy. He was just really fucking fun to be around, and he got along with everyone, and he always had something going on. Like, that was the person who was the most successful with dating, because everyone just liked him. So his, like, pool of potential partners was so incredibly huge, because he just made friends with everyone. You know? And then you could argue, like, oh, would he have been even more successful if he looked like Henry Cavill, and he also was very sociable? Like, yeah, probably, but every person is like a combination of a bunch of variables, right? That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. So, I don't know. I've always been incredibly skeptical when I see people talk about this kind of stuff and try to argue that humans are black and white. Like, yeah, some girls are not gonna give a shit that you go to the gym. Some girls are gonna be really into it, you know? Some girls are gonna love the fact that you're an ambitious businessman. Other girls are gonna think you're annoying because you're spending too much time away. It's like, meh, meh, meh. And most people are somewhere in the middle. Every person is different, yeah. And then you can argue that, like, sure, there are things that are, you know, stereotypically or statistically significant on average. Like, you know, but that doesn't mean it's black and white. I think that's important to remember. Women are not a hive mind. I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far, you know? I wouldn't go that far. OP could find a woman that's into what he wants. Indeed. Indeed. I'm in class with my emotional support team and you're awesome. Like, hell yeah, welcome in. Welcome in. Is it ideal to be with someone who doesn't blow all their paychecks in 24 hours? Yeah, but I feel like deeming worth based on wealth is stupid. Who doesn't blow their paycheck in 24 hours? That sounds... that sounds intense as hell. Oh my god. Okay, let's see. Taking years to realize girlfriend is a person. Oh no. Relationship advice. I, 28M, have finally realized my girlfriend, 27F, isn't nagging. I am just not respecting her concerns. Now that I've realized this, how do I change the behavior? Okay, this sounds like, you know, it's someone that has figured it out, okay? I'm kind of hopeful about this post, because this sounds like it has been frictions in relationship stuff. I'm figuring out why. That's like... That's good, though. Oh yeah, poll. Poll for the last post. Let me just bring out the last post. So it's this one. If you're a female, read this. Okay. But, question mark? If someone just joins this stream, they're gonna be like, what the hell is this voting? But, oh my god, who would have thunk it? 99%? I think chat is just like auto-selecting but at this point. Imagine we just read a super normal post. It's like, yeah, I went on a picnic with my date, and chat is just like, asshole! Asshole stamp! Right there. Hi everyone, wish you all a good next 24 hours. Welcome in, you beautiful being. I do hope you enjoy your stay. Yeah, that seems to be pretty set in stone. 98%, baby. Booyah. Bring the torches and pitchforks. Here we go. This one I'm a bit hopeful for, right? Because it sounds like it's someone coming to good realizations, alright? I, 28M, have finally realized my girlfriend, 27F, isn't nagging. I am just not respecting her concerns. Now I've realized this, how do I change the behavior? I often don't use the word nagging in my head because I falsely think that's just a dirty word that only shitty partners use. So instead I think of things like she's neurotic or a control freak or being too hard on me, which is even worse, but somehow it's kept me distanced from and lying to myself about what I am doing. It creates a cycle where she will tell me not to do something or ask me to do it differently. I mean, this depends. I'm assuming because of the title, like it's gonna be something that matters, but like, is someone doing, you know, micromanaging, backseat driving kind of stuff? That can certainly be annoying. But is it like something else, or like boundary pushing or something? I don't know, man. I apologize, but internally, I don't see where she's coming from or think why she actually cares. Internally, that sounds like it's gonna lead to a lot of resentment, I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's okay to just accept someone else's wishes and their boundaries, even if you yourself don't understand them. I think that's pretty important about, you know, just basic empathy or a partner or something. They can have discomforts that aren't your discomforts, and then just listening to it might be enough. You don't have to, like, completely understand everything. I would argue it's impossible in a lot of cases because our lived experiences are so different. Understanding might not be the main point, but respecting it and realizing not everyone is the same is the reasonable thing to do. But this, of course, sounds like internally I don't see where she, you know, that sounds like it's building up resentment. The Oak Anchor, thank you so much for being a lasso. I get defensive in my head, telling myself why I did it and twisting it into her for not understanding why I did it in the first place. I mean, that sounds like something you need to talk about in that case, or you mention it in the moment. She's like, why are you doing it this way? And then it'll be like, oh, I thought about it like this. And she's like, oh, but I think this is better. And then you can decide, it's like, okay, yeah, I see where you're coming from, but I still think my way is better, or like your way is better, or whatever. But it also depends so much on what it is. Like, is this individual boundaries, or it's like how you stack the dishwasher, you know? Like, what's the context? Sometimes I'll explain my reasoning, which gets respectfully but firmly shut down, rightly so on her part, and then I play the victim and think I'm being invalidated. Then I repeat the behavior, she's upset because I clearly didn't listen or take it seriously enough to change last time. And I feel a growing resentment. Yeah, there it is, that's kind of called it. Like, if he's doing this internally, that's gonna lead to growing resentment of being criticized all the time. It's so toxic and it's hurting our relationship. I do love her and respect her, but in the moment I just think of myself and throw her under the bus. She doesn't deserve that. How do I change? I mean, that's sort of self-aware though, I suppose. Like, this post gets half a gold star because it's someone that actually realizes that, hey, this is a problem. How do I fix it? Right? That's pretty good. I would say still communication is key. Just sit her down and be like, hey, this is how I feel internally when this happens. I'm not sure if this is valid or not, but I feel we need to talk about it. That is okay. Sometimes you will feel things, and then when you talk about it, you'll realize, oh man, my first gut feeling was kind of off. That can happen, but it's important to talk about because otherwise it just builds up resentment. Actions speak louder than words. Listen to what she's been saying and then act on those words. I mean, if you agree with it, otherwise talk about it. And it also depends heavily on what it is. Like I said, is this like petty arguments about like how you like folding your socks in the drawers, you know? Or is it more personal boundaries or something more serious? Like, what's the context, you know? Don't get me wrong, both can build up resentment over time, but that of course varies a lot. Read this article. She divorced me because I left dishes by the sink. It wasn't a big deal to me when I was married, but it's a big deal to her. He was too fixated on whether he thought things were important. The reasons he left his glass by the sink instead of putting it in the dishwasher. I may use it again. I don't care if a glass is sitting by the sink. I will never care about a glass sitting by the sink ever. It's impossible. It's like asking me to make myself interested in crocheting or enjoy yard work. If he truly didn't care about the glass, he could uncaringly put it in the dishwasher. What he did care about was proving that he'll do things his way. Now he's divorced. Your reasons are similar. The cat can stand it, you say. And that's a good enough reason to mistreat it. Why the frick should the cat have to stand it? Poor cat. Maybe don't start from the position, if they can manage to stand it, I'm not doing anything wrong. I mean, yeah, it can also feel like it's something very small, but it's more about the communication and the respect and the vibe it gives off, and that can build resentment over time. The guy in the If You're a Woman Read This reminds me of some guys I met IRL. It makes me feel like they don't see me as a person. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. It feels more like numbers and weird stuff. Good analogy. Yeah. Yeah, I think this post is like, you know, obviously something is wrong, but they're actually taking steps about it, asking other people about it, getting good insight. So let's make a little post. Let's make a little vote. Yes, indeed. This one has half a gold star in my book, though. Like, the first step to realizing that something is wrong, fixing it, is to realize that it's wrong, you know? Ooh, 1 vote, baby. Hell yes. Is OP the butt no? 56%. I mean, that's pretty reasonable. Like, sort of split in half, because it's like something is obviously wrong and is building resentment, but it's also self-aware enough to actually want to do something about it, which shows that they do care on some level. So, this isn't as a clear-cut case of like, you know, taking years to realize the other person. That feels like an overly mean title, in my opinion. You know, meh. Like, this is kind of insane. Like, you know, if you're arguing about like dishes and be like, oh my god, you don't see your partner as a human. It's like, okay, that's a bit steep. You can just agree that you were petty about dishes. Like, fuck. Oh man. Everyone is a butt. Slight buttness. No one actually mistreated the cat here, unfortunately. Yeah, so no one is like an uber butt. Yes or no is too binary for this one. We need more context vote. Yeah, it also depends on what it is. Like, are you talking about being petty about dishes, which can also build up resentment, or are you talking about personal boundaries or something like deeper, you know? Because I can totally see, you know, the backseat driving-esque stuff. You know, if someone asks you to do something or help with something, but then they're very backseaty in how you do it. Then it's like, but then just do it yourself. Like, dear God, oh my God. So I can see that being an annoyance, but it also completely depends on the context and how you communicate it and what it is, you know. Why doesn't it have to be done her way about dishes on the side of the sink? And what if she decides to leave a cup on the side? Does this survive the gender swap test? That's also a very good point. Sometimes the stories get, like, vastly different depending on it. I would argue the example about the dish thing would still hold up if you reversed the genders. If it was, like, the wife in that instance just leaving it by the dishes and insisting it's not messy even though it's bothering him, I would at least want to judge it the same way. But I could also imagine there is a bias. I know that these kind of Reddit posts can have a bias sometimes, one way or another. I think it depends a lot on, like, which demographic finds the post first, in my experience. Like, some posts I've seen, like, take for example another stream we had where it was like a truck driver, for example, and there were so many people who didn't even understand what truck driving was for a job. They were making, like, these really nasty assumptions about the dude. It was fucking insane. And that for me, for example, felt like, okay, people, a certain demographic found this post first, you know. Bias is unfortunately something most people can't help to have, yeah. But it's kind of a helpful thing. Like, gender swapping stories is pretty helpful to have, like, a healthy discussion. The truck driver bought his gaming rig? Yeah. Like, I still think that story needed more communication from both parties. But there were a lot of comments that were really nasty. All of this creepy behavior. Having female friends has ruined my hopes of dating. Any advice on how to regain hope and confidence? Okay. Usually female friends is like a positive when you want to get into dating, because they usually have a bunch of friends and stuff. And usually, in my experience, women vouching for dudes is one of the best grades you can get when it comes to, like, other women, you know? But let's see where this goes. Ask men advice. This subreddit I kind of like from time to time, I'm gonna be honest. It's like, you know, just dudes, sometimes skewing towards an older demographic, talking about life and stuff. Not always. Every subreddit has, like, nuggets that are both gold and brown, but let's get into it, shall we? Having female friends has ruined my hopes of dating. Any advice on how to regain hope and confidence? I'm a 23-year-old male. I'm friends with a variety of people from different backgrounds. However, something that's been extremely common among my female friends scares me. Example 1. A female friend, 1, tells me about how a guy came up to her and expressed feelings for her. She told me she hated every second of it and said the guy was a gross creep. Okay, I mean, what if he was, though? I saw the guy and he was normal looking and was actually really kind. I've talked to him before. Okay, this is sort of like a fallacy that I see in more context than just this. Just because he's nice to you doesn't mean that he's nice to everyone. I have had this experience with dudes as well, right? Like, dudes that will treat me perfectly fine because I am a tall, wide-shouldered dude and they would never mess with me. But then I hear from one of my lady friends that, like, yeah, this dude was fucking creeping on me and trying to grope me in places. And it's like, whoa. And I know that, of course, he would never try that with me because, 1, he's probably not interested in me that way. And number 2, it wouldn't end well for him, you know? So this is a fallacy that I have seen in person many times. Many times. Almost as if creeps are only creepy to the people they desire. Yeah, I have actually had this exact attitude from women as well. This is not like a man-exclusive thing either. I have had women who've been really creepy and, like, stalker-esque and stuff. And then I've had other women be like, but they probably just miss you, or they're probably just this and that. And it's like, okay, that doesn't justify it at all. What the hell? They were nice when I spoke to them. Yeah, but they were creepy towards me. What the fuck? Of course they weren't creepy towards you. They're not obsessively stalking you and harassing you. Bruh. So I think that's also like a demographic bias. Like, if you are... This is actually something I talked about with with a lady friend at some point a long time ago. And we talked about it, and it was kind of a nice conversation because, well, not nice because of the topic, but I think it speaks a lot about like demographic biases. Like when I think about my experience, for example, when I count like people that have been really stalky, or people that are gropey when you're at parties, people that send you very inappropriate messages, get really obsessive and aggressive, 90% of it has been women. But if I ask my lady friends about it, 100% are dudes, you know? And it's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense, right? Because most of the people that would find me interesting enough on a romantic level to be obsessive and creepy are gonna be ladies. And 90% of the people who would find my lady friends interesting in a romantic way to the point they would be creepy and aggressive are gonna be dudes. I'm not saying like one side has it. I'm not saying that like my experience would be worse or anything. One thing I've realized is that just the physical difference in of itself has a completely different threat level to it. For example, that doesn't make one thing okay or whatever, just a justification. But there is certainly a bias in demographics, and I think this plays into that exact bias. It's like you wouldn't experience the creepiness from this dude because he's not interested in sleeping with you, you know? So, this isn't a red flag in the least. This is just you experiencing and not being aware of that bias. Is Click okay? He keeps clearing his throat. I'm okay. My throat is just like getting a little bit dry, hence why I'm drinking water. Yeah, I've not been the victim of said harassment, so they're a kind person. It's the same thing as saying, meh, I'm not a kid experiencing bad stuff in school, so I think the one was a nice guy. Yeah. Or it's basically... I can also see the same kind of justification with, like, abuse stories. I've seen, like, but they were nice when I talked to them, but okay. But that's... Do you think they abuse every single person they meet? Bruh? Do you think this, like, creepy stalkery person stalks every single person they meet? Probably not. Man. To be fair, some gross and creepy behavior from people could be neurodivergency. I would need more context to determine if any of those men were actually creepy or not. I mean, yeah, there's definitely a difference between, like, purposeful, like, creepiness and crossing boundaries versus being, for example, socially awkward and the thing turns uncomfortable, you know? Being uncomfortable is not a crime. Hey Click, I think your bot forgot to say you were live. Did it? It probably did. Oh yeah, I should ping the chat though, I'll do it manually. The bot is a little bit buggy, thanks for reminding me. Hydrate or die straight. If those Reddit guys would stop calling women females, they would immediately have more success in dating. I think so too. Like, female and male is fine terms when you talk about it more scientifically. Like, you know, oh, the female demographic, the male demographic, whatever, like, sure. But, yeah, I know what you mean. Example 2. A female friend, too, tells me about how this guy came up to her table while she was eating at a restaurant, and she messaged me, get over here and get this guy away from me. I go over there and just tell him that, hey, sorry, this seat is mine. It was a 2-person table, and he said, no worries, bro, have a nice day. And was also really friendly. Female friend proceeds to tell me how creepy he was. But I mean, this is also like a bias example, right? I have seen this plenty of times when, for example, a dude won't let up, or they won't take like a no for an answer, or sometimes it can also be that the woman in question is scared of saying no because they've experienced other people in the past who are really bad at taking a no, so they get aggressive. But if there's another dude in the picture, it changes. A lot of dudes will act way more respectful if there is another man present. So like this first one, this is just like demographic bias. Like, of course you're not going to experience the same person as creepy because they don't want to sleep with you, you know? It's like that's pretty obvious, fam. That doesn't mean he wasn't acting weird or creepy. And number 2, that's also a classic save. Like, if you're worried about, for example, even if she didn't outright say no, it can also be because she was worried about how the dude would react. And it's a very easy save. It's like, man, this guy is coming on to me. I don't want to deal with a potential bad rejection, you know, because that can happen. Can you just come over and pretend to be my boyfriend so I don't have to deal with this? That's perfectly reasonable. That is perfectly reasonable. Why not? And it's not like the dude was hurt from it, you know? She wasn't interested one way or another, and he was like, oh yeah, have a nice day, whatever. Meh. That's just a normal thing, avoiding potential uncomfortable situations. Example 3. If you want to go this way, like I know some people in the story would say that, oh, but then she should have been straightforward with it and told him no and that kind of stuff. But you're not really owed anything by a stranger. I have had it happen plenty of times when I haven't been upfront with saying no, for example. You know, someone is coming on to you in an uncomfortable way and you're just like, ooh, I'm just gonna play stupid. And oh my god, there's another group of people over here I want to talk to. Zip! You know, because you don't really want to deal with it. You know, you don't owe a stranger to have like a weird confrontation if they are potentially gonna take it poorly because you don't know them. Like, if you want to make that argument for this girl, you should make the same argument for me as well. When I've had people come on to me and I get uncomfortable and I just skedaddle, yeah, then I should be called out for the same thing. Like, meh. Example 3. A female friend Friend 3 tells me about how a friend she had that was male asked her out on a date, and she said she was so mad that the guy would ruin their friendship by asking her that. That is just so little context. It's okay to not be interested in someone just because they're your friend. It's also okay to get a crush on someone that is a friend, and then it's up to the two of you how you want to deal with it. Do you want to keep being friends and him trying to get over the feelings, or do you give each other space to let things cool off? Like, this is just classic, like, friendship situations. That doesn't mean anyone is evil or bad, you know? Sometimes it's dangerous to say no. Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't know how a stranger is gonna act, and sometimes they can give those sort of vibes, you know? I think if you have encountered people like that before, you can sometimes pick up on the vibes early, that it's like, ooh, this person is like, something is on edge here. Like, something is slightly off. This person could snap, you know? It's not always correct, but that intuition is like, you can kind of tell after a while who's gonna be trouble. And I've realized my intuition with that kind of stuff has gotten much better over the years. I was, for example, at a party a while ago, and I was like, everyone here is super nice, but those two dudes over there, they are gonna be trouble when they get more drunk. And I was absolutely right. Could tell right away. One of them was like super, it wasn't anything super weird or over the top, but one person was trying to hit on everyone in like an uncomfortable way, even though they weren't single, you know, not to the extent where you would like go over and like literally throw them out, but it's like, you know, they're being a little bit like, come on, bro. And the other guy was like really invasive with asking everyone weird questions, right? So it wasn't like anyone was going out of the way and being like super violent or anything like that, but you know, I could tell right away, like, oh yeah, these two bros, they're gonna be weird in a couple hours. And they were. Who would have thunk it? Sometimes those vibes just kind of leak through, and when the alcohol hits and they're not like masking it anymore, then there you go. Xantum, thank you so much for the 5. So I don't know, in these kind of cases, I have certainly gotten vibes from people in context in life where I'm like, yeah, I probably shouldn't engage a confrontation with this person, even if the confrontation is as simple as saying no, because they have very escalatory vibes, for example. And then it's much easier to just have someone come over and be like, oh my god, they are my partner. Wow, what an easy way to disarm a situation. This all makes me extremely jaded, and I just never want to ask out anyone ever again. Any advice for people who have the same thoughts before? To this dude as well, I would say no, none of this is worth getting worked up about. Like, example 3, that's on them. That's on them to figure out. Stuff like this happens. This doesn't mean that anyone is a butthole, right? Sometimes you can develop crushes on friends. That happens. We are human. Sometimes that is not reciprocated. That happens. We are human. It's up to you guys to figure it out, right? But there is nothing to be jaded about in these situations. Like this first one, I would say, this just sounds like sample bias. You wouldn't experience creepiness from a person who isn't coming on to you, right? Example 2 is just like disarming a situation in an easy way without having to deal with a confrontation or saying no to someone you don't know how they're gonna react. Like, this is a super easy way to disarm something, right? This is essentially on the same level as just playing stupid when someone asks you out and you just don't want to deal with it. It's like, oh, look over there, it's a bird, you know? And this one is just like, that's on them to figure out their little fucking crushes or whatever. This is not something to be jaded over. This is not something to be jaded over. I feel like this dude is... I mean, it sounds like he's sort of there for his friends, except when it's like... This feels... Nah, okay, wait. I'll reformulate that. The first story, it sounds like he's dismissing her experience based on bias. The second one, he's technically on her side. Like, he does the thing she wants to get away from the situation, but then he doubts it anyway. He's like, he was friendly. Yeah, he was friendly to you. Okay? He was friendly to you because he thought it was your girlfriend. Alright? Like, that's not the same thing. So I feel like he's misguided. You're a misguided young dude. This is not how you should view these things. And you're probably not picking up on the same things, you know? I can tell from experience that one thing that weirded me out, for example... Did he put stuff in comment? Let's see. Here we go. It's worth noting, I mean, this isn't OP, but this is another comment. It's worth noting that there's probably things about these interactions you're not seeing, for reasons beyond your control. Like, I'm not trying to bash on you here and call you ignorant, as humans were often forced to draw conclusions on incomplete information, and based on information you have, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with these guys. But, being approached by a stranger, who then confesses their feelings, is weird. This person doesn't know you. If they don't know you, what feelings can you possibly have to confess, unless they're stalking you or something? Yeah, that's also valid, yeah. And also that, like I said, it's also like a sample bias. You wouldn't get the creeps, necessarily, from someone who's not coming on to you. Like, a person can be creepy towards someone that they are interested in, and act completely normal with someone else they're not interested in, okay? That happens. Number 2, if someone is eating alone at a restaurant, you shouldn't just join them or try to hit on them. That is super weird. Yeah, I don't think I've ever done that in my life, and I don't think anyone has done that to me either. I don't think I would take that particularly well, I'm gonna be honest. There's probably details to this interaction that were left out, possibly because they're embarrassing to one or both of the involved parties. And if they've been friends for a long time and he approached it clumsily, he might have given her the impression that he never really was her friend, just a guy waiting for her to be single. Yeah, that can be interpreted in many ways. Like, either he was only there because he was trying to get with her from day one, maybe he developed a crush over a long period of time, maybe they were like overly cuddly and stuff for being friends, and that like sparked emotions. You know, there's many versions of this story. There is no context. It's their shit to figure out, man. Meh. You're missing a lot of nuance in these interactions, and some of it is hidden from your view. By some, it sounds like you're missing because you're less familiar with the perspective of the women involved in these interactions, which, you know, is okay. There is nothing wrong with you. You're still a young dude who honestly hasn't seen much yet. Stick around. Continue to be a safe person for women to ask help from. You'll gain that familiarity with time and friendship. One thing that just came to my mind, a really good comparative situation, right? I have a friend of mine who works as a teacher, and he occasionally gets like angry calls from parents, like, why did you write my little angel up? Why did my angel get a bad grade in your class? It can't possibly be them. Or for example, there was an instance, little drama in their class when a few of like the classical troublemakers had stolen something from another student, you know, that kind of thing. And he sent an email home to the parents and be like, hey, be a lookout for this thing because I think one of your kiddos has it. And one of the parents called him and was super upset. He was like, how dare you accuse my little angel? He would never do this. And at first, my teacher friend was apologetic, but then he was like, but wait a second. You don't actually know jack shit. He's done this before, you know? Just because from your perspective, you want your little angel to be innocent and perfect, doesn't actually mean that he's not an angel. He's stolen things at 4 more situations at this school. He's a little rascal. He's a little rascal, you know? And that reminds me so much of this situation, you know? Just because you as a dude haven't experienced that creepiness from another dude, doesn't mean that he's not being creepy towards people that he finds romantically interesting. He wouldn't creep on you. He doesn't want to sleep with you. Why would he creep on you, right? And the same thing happens in that teacher situation. It's like, you don't actually see how your kid acts at school. It's a different context, right? You don't actually see how he treats his classmates, or if he is a little shitty bully, you know? That reminds me so much of this. It's the same kind of like, observational bias, or whatever you want to call it. It just reminded me of that. I think it's a very good comparative situation that is a bit less controversial, perhaps. OP lacks information, sure, but I think he, at the age of 20 plus, should be more aware of the differences in perspective. I mean, he should be, but I mean, if I think back on when I was 23, I was pretty naive. I was never this, at least I don't think so, but, I mean, I was certainly not as informed and experienced as I is today, which makes sense, because I'm like 10 years older now, but 23 is quite young, and you know, a lot of people don't get into, like, relationships or have friends of the opposite sex, for example, until they're a bit older. Like, at 23, I had very little experience with, you know, relationships and that kind of stuff at that point. I was very naive when it came to that stuff. At least from the perspective of other people. I had a couple of relationships myself, but not nearly enough to have, like, a nuanced perspective about these sort of situations, I don't think. I don't think so. He's still very young. I feel the dude just needs to understand other perspectives and views. Yeah, like, one good reality check is to turn it around. Like, I think one thing that made me very open to these sort of situations and make me see through them very easily was the fact that I experienced the exact opposite. When I had someone who was a woman who was creeping on me, and I told another woman, like, yeah, this person is creepy. And a couple of times I had other women being like, no, don't be silly, she just likes you, or, you know, does this, or she just misses you, like, downplaying the shit out of it. Or like, I haven't seen that, she was nice when I spoke to her. I had someone say that to my face once, that was insane. So, I think that made me, at least, very open and empathetic to this kind of view, because I think it's more often that it happens in this direction, but I mean, I couldn't tell, honestly. I haven't lived both experiences, but it can happen to anyone, you know? Oh, more passport bro stuff? Nah, I'm good. This one does. Oh my god! Ooh! Oh, bruh! Oh my god! Dude, that's awful to say to someone you consider a friend. I mean, it wasn't really in my case, it wasn't like a close friend. It was more like a classmate or something, I think. Not someone I was super close with personally. Poll? Oh yeah, poll. Let's see, how should I do this? Like, is OP the butt? I will say, like, yes, no, and I'll add another option that is, like, misguided. I think that's valid in this instance, because it doesn't ring to me as maliciousness, it just reads like he's misinformed and young, to be honest. He's a doofus, that's a good way of putting it, yeah. It's not like malice. He's not like doing anything evil. He's just, I don't know. He sees a girl calling someone else creepy. He didn't see what the guy actually did, and now he's afraid that other women will call him creepy based on like nothing, you know? Oh yes indeed. I have Doritos today. Girl dinner, yas. That next post got decimated. This one is decimated hard, bruh. Yeah, 80% misguided. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I think that's a pretty decent conclusion to this one. To give a chat some hope, and immense here, what happened when walking home alone at night once? This guy came up and made sure I was protected, but kept distance while talking, and the next day we met up. Oh, look at that. Aw. Love in the most unexpected places. Like, why wouldn't you side with your friend over a rando, if not for some weird gender loyalty or protection situation? Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And you know, if if someone is legitimately going around and throwing around creep accusations at everyone, why are you their friend? You're gonna be next in line, bruh. Like, man. You know? If that's actually what you're concerned about, then why haven't you skedaddled already? I mean, not to feed any paranoia. I don't think there's anything to be paranoid about in this situation, but like, you know what I mean, right? If that's actually what you think is going on, why are you sticking around? You're gonna be next. Relationship advice. 66 updates, 500 comments. This is a doozy ratio. Oh dear God. Quick question, Click. How do you deal with all the negativity you see on Reddit when making videos? You always appear to be positive, and that's awesome. I mean, I don't think... Out of my life in general, I don't think most of it is negative. Does that make sense? And a lot of it I also laugh at, like, because it's silly and stupid. I think the point of life balance in general is have enough things going on, so one thing being negative or exhausting doesn't take all the wind out of you. Right? That's a pretty good way to think about it. That's a good attitude to have in general as well. Everything, and it's easier said than done, right? Because life can come in all different shapes and sizes. But if you have, for example, right now in my life, I have a few things I'm happy with. You know, there is relationship, there is family. I have my gym bros I go working out with. I have my other old uni friends I hang out with and drink beer and do cheese nights. I have my other friend group that I play games with. I have my YouTube gig, I stream, and like some other miscellaneous hobbies and stuff on the side, right? So if one of these things is a bit stinky, like for example, oh, I hurt something and I can't do my gym thing, or maybe YouTube is being stinky and the algorithm is treating me poorly this month and all my numbers are in the red, you know, something like that. It's like, well, that's one thing being shaky out of 8. So life feels quite manageable, you know? I suppose it's that kind of thing, don't put all your eggs in one basket kind of saying, but with more words. Hey, Click. I think the boy needs to hear some horror stories where he wasn't there to help understand why the woman has to be so cautious. Yeah, that too. That too. It's like, well, you know, this guy might not have been the worst, and or at least he hasn't shown the worst yet, but maybe he wasn't the worst. But last time I turned down someone in a cafe, he was screaming in my face for 25 minutes and threatened to follow me home, you know? So yeah. Ivan, thank you so much for the 50. That's way too generous. I just found out my dad's tumor is... Oh, that's... Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope you're doing okay, and you get to spend time with your family and the people you care about. I hope you can get through it together, okay? Pink Guy, thank you so much for the 2. Show me your duck die. They're not here, sadly. They're not here. That sounds like it could potentially be something dirty. It's like, show me your duck. Duck die. Show me your ducks. They're in the other room, sadly. My 36M wife, 34F, isn't allowing me to see our son, but we are still legally married. Okay, but like how's the... Okay. My wife and I have been living apart for the past month after I had an affair. Not making a good case for your story, bro, right off the bat. Fuck, man, we couldn't even get through the first sentence. Alright, well... I won't make excuses. I made a huge mistake and I regret it deeply. I attend couples therapy with her, but it's virtual and I've been trying to make amends and show up for our son who is 3, but my wife is making it impossible. Yeah. We haven't filed for divorce yet, and there is no formal custody agreement in place. But every time I try to visit, she's conveniently not home. If I try to plan ahead and ask when I can come by, she's always vague or tells me it's not a good time. I have driven over unannounced a couple of times, only to find the house dark or be told through the Ring camera that they are out. When I confronted her about it, she told me she needs time to emotionally work through things and that she's not ready to see me yet. I understand that she's hurt and processing everything, but I don't see why that means I can't see my son. I've offered to take him out for the day, suggesting meeting in a neutral place. Hell, I even asked if I could FaceTime with him regularly, but she keeps dodging me. Yeah, I think, I think she needs space, man. For very good reason. And, if this was me in that situation, I would also be concerned. It's like, oh yeah, are you gonna bring your love interest around and trying to replace me as the mom, It's like, man, you've already cheated on me. What's saying you're not gonna keep going down a nasty path, I certainly wouldn't trust you after this. I'm starting to feel like she's trying to push me out completely. I wonder why. And I don't know what to do. I don't want to escalate things legally if I don't have to, but I also don't want to just accept being cut off from my son. How can I allow her to let me see him? Give her space, man. Give her space. Dear God, you're constantly showing up outside of the house. Coming over unannounced. You know, all that kind of stuff. Like, you cheated on her, left her in emotional turmoil, and also meaning that, like, uprooting all y'all's lives. And then you keep, like, being super needy and pestering her about it. And then you're trying to make it about the kid. It's like, dude, man. You can't just drop over unannounced after you cheated. You need to, I mean, the least you can do is give her space. The very least you can do. Like, now you're being borderline harassy. Fuck, man. So you were moving due to your job. So you ended your affair so you and your wife could move. You let your wife know you betrayed her and your son, and she decides to not move, and now you're hundreds of miles away and think you can fix this. Interesting, good. Wait, has this been edited? Or maybe it's from a comment. Oh no, my wife and I have been living apart for the past month after edit. No, wait, I made a huge mistake. Came a visit. Every time I try to visit. Okay, so he lives further away for work, I guess. Okay, well, that makes it. Yeah, sure. Until there's a court order in place for custody, there's nothing you can do to prevent this from happening. You made a choice to ruin your marriage. This is the consequences of those decisions. Yeah. And I mean, I personally, I really understand the other partner. It's like, okay, he already cheated and broke up our marriage vows and all that kind of jazz. Is he also gonna try to replace me in front of our kid? And, you know, bring in this new woman as the mother figure instead, and try to make that a whole ordeal. I really don't trust that. Pancake Dragon, thank you so much for the 2. The fact that he cheated on the relationship with a 2-year-old child makes me think perhaps he's not that much of a great dad. Yep. Like, they had a kid 3 years ago. Like, damn. Do you really want to go through a divorce with a 3-year-old? Is a quick, like, ball busting worth it? Man, like, cheating is something very, very, very conscious, right? Like, I have heard some people try to justify cheating, but it's usually in very particular context. It's like, oh, I was a teenager, young and stupid, my partner had already cheated, and I was stupid, so instead of breaking it off right then, I cheated back, and it's like, alright, well, I hope you outgrew that shit. Like, I can sort of understand it because the relationship was already screwed or whatever. I wouldn't hold that over someone's head forever, but, you know, not something good either. But this isn't even that. This isn't even like, you know, a broken, toxic relationship and, you know, shit happens or whatever you want to justify it with. This is just, we were happily married with a small kid, and I just hippity hoppity, it's another woman in the property. Bruh. The mom is punishing the child for what the father did. Mom is the butthole for that part. I mean, it's never good when children get caught in the middle. But he also sounds like a very distant parent, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I know there can be some bias towards certain things in these sort of stories, but as a fellow man, I certainly think he sounds like he's, first away, he lives far away. Like, he moved away from work and kind of left him alone, and then he cheated. Like, mom is definitely the butt here. Yeah, maybe, but I think she just needs time and a bit of distance. This story doesn't really give any context to how much time has passed, you know? But yeah, I agree that, like, punishing the child for it isn't okay. And in the long term, they should definitely make it work so the child has both their parents in the picture, of course. But this story is also not highlighting what kind of time frame we're talking. Like, okay, has it been a week since you figured out that you were cheating and you're, like, showing up at the house every single day, you know? Or has it been, like, 3 months since you saw your child, you know? Past month? Does it say, wait, does it say past month? I'm going to show up in 3 months, impossible. He's currently not home. Joined a couple of times. You're not ready to see me yet. I understand she's doing processing, but son, I have to take him out today. I don't want to escalate things legally. Does it say somewhere? Last month? Am I missing it? With the fact that this involves children, I think there needs to be psychological support as well as for everyone involved. This mom is not the a-hole for being hurt. Yeah, I think that's valid. Like, the mom is obviously going to be hurt by it. The child shouldn't be stuck in the middle of it. But he's also the butthole because he made the whole thing happen. So it's like, yeah, couples therapy, bring it up here, yeah. Yeah, first line, living apart for the past month after I had an affair. Okay, so they have been living apart for a month. Okay, I interpret that as it was like his work thing first. Alright, makes sense. Look up, himbo Swede! I'll repeat my previous point. This man broke her trust and probably has hurt the kid alongside it. The mom has all the valid points not to allow the kid with him alongside that bad wording on OP. Yeah, like... I am all for not getting kids stuck in the middle of nasty divorce affairs and shit. No matter who, like, was wrong first, because it's not the kid's business. But... he's the butthole. And he made it blow up. But anyway, let's do a little voting for this one. This one might be a bit more controversial. Hell yes, let's see. So, who is the butt? All right, he is the butt. She is the butt. Both are butts. Oh, it should be the last one then. Child is priority. That's a good option. Hell yeah. There we go. Oh my god. The kid is the butt, the child is at fault. Oh my god. Hey kiddo, you know this divorce is your fault, right? Oh, classic. 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 So it seems to be a very even split between he's the butt, both are butts, child is priority. I mean, I would say, in my very informed opinion, based on this incredibly limited context, that he's the main butt, but she still needs to be aware of the fact that she can't punish the kid for it. Like, the kid still deserves a father, even if the father was a shitty husband, right? He can still be a good father, even if he's a shit husband, right? You know, at least I would argue that. So the child doesn't deserve to lose his father just because the parents do stupid things between each other, right? Like, it's not the child's... The child shouldn't receive the punishment, but he's still the main butt, right? So it's more like she needs to be careful so the son doesn't take the brunt of the bullshit. The kid is the butt, he should work on himself. Send the kid to couples therapy. Disgusting. A very mixed poll this time, yeah. I mean, she is not the butt. Very few people voted for that she is the butt. But some people are voting for both of the butts, which makes sense. Like, you know, she wouldn't be the butt for the marriage, but the kid still deserves a father, obviously. So there is like a bit dangerous. We can slip into bad territory for the kid's sake. If the kid wasn't in the picture, I would say that he's 100 billion% the butt. But things always get more complicated when there are children in the picture. Technically, that's family therapy. Yes, indeed. The kid can lead the therapy sessions. There we go. I feel like OP is an unreliable narrator. Yeah, that as well. I wouldn't doubt that for a second. He's trying to take the kid across the border. Wait, is that like your assumption? Or did he say something in the comments about, like, taking the child? Another cheater thinks the only consequence of cheating is perhaps losing their partner. You didn't just cheat on your wife, you broke up your family. Oh my god. Oh, I was breathing in. Oh, fuck. But it was hard to think about how this would affect your child while you were in the warm bed with your mistress and your wife was taking care of your child, wasn't it? Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, the child still doesn't deserve to lose a parent, though. That's the thing. Like, it is his fault. The situation is his fault. 100%. OP cheated... Wait, hold on, wait, what? Since OP doesn't want to add this to the post so people will give him advice rather than rightfully calling him out on his BS, OP cheated on his wife for 5 months. Left the state. And only now cares about seeing his son. Oh, so he already basically abandoned the family for half a year. Does the kid even remember him? Does the kid even remember him? And he refuses to understand why his wife might not trust a proven liar who only cares about himself to not kidnap their very young son and take him out of state if she allowed him to see the child. Okay, Chad is asking for a new poll. I think it's new poll. Okay, is OP the butt? Yes. No. Both are butts. The child is the butt. There we go. There we go. There are some good options, chat. Let democracy fly. The child is the butt, 15%. Oh my god. It's little Timmy. It was him all along. Imagine being a child, bro. Disgusting. Dear God. For democracy fly, Helldivers 2 theme. Oh my god. For managed democracy in the name of Super Earth. Yeah, I think most people are like, is OP the butt? 0% no. Although 22% thinks the child is the butt. Okay, like a bit of a meme answer, obviously. But okay, yeah, I think it's pretty clear. With this context, it's basically like he flew out of state to cheat for 6 months, abandoned his family. At this point, I'm like, does the kid even recognize him at this point? Because then he left when the kid was like 2.5 years old. And now he came back when the kid is 3. Like, does the kid even recognize him at this point? Like, man, that's like 30... No, that's like 30% of the kid's lifespan, fam. Holy shit. So I'm like, does the kid even remember him? Is the first question. And then the second question is if he's just gonna kidnap the child, because he's already a proven liar who has like his whole mistress thing going on out of state. Man. You mentioned FB pokes in a very recent video. I'm not sure if anyone has told you, but the feature still exists. You just have to search it. Ah, it's just a bit hidden. That's good to know. Maybe I'll resume my poke battles I had back in high school. That's good. Taste democracy, little Timmy. Have a cup of liberty. Yeah, nice. Okay, I was wrong. The guy is clearly the asshole. However, if the child does still want to see his dad, then he should still be able to. The kidnapping thing seems far-fetched, but who knows? I mean, calling it kidnapping might be exaggerating, but maybe it's like, you know, if he gets to have the child for a bit, he's in a different state, and then he makes it purposefully very difficult for her to come pick her up and come back with him, you know? So maybe kidnapping is too strong of a word, but, you know, it's like, yeah. But I would still argue that the kid is too young to really know what's going on. And I wouldn't fucking trust him. Dear God, we're the bad narrator. Nuh-uh. The large majority of child kidnappings are from a parent who doesn't have custody. Makes sense. Child abduction by an estranged parent is not uncommon. Yeah, that too. That too. Yeah, the dad's been outside a kid's life for 15% of his life. Poor kid. I definitely wouldn't trust him. If he's left for 5 months, he's gonna naturally keep the wife away. Yeah. Yeah, of course he would. Kids have memory at 1. The fact most of it gets overwritten or forgotten as we grow up does not mean kids don't have memory. Yeah, I mean, I know, but my point was more like, how present was he before that point? He's been gone for a big portion of their life, etc., etc., etc. Like, that's sort of what I mean. Not that kids have mysterious amnesia exactly when they hit 3 years old, you know? On behalf of England, I disowned the next post's OP. Wait, what? Oh, God. And they get mad when we say Nazi. The great replacement theory isn't a theory, it's mathematically self-evident. Oh, dear God. True unpopular opinion. Jesus fucking Christ. This is something I would expect to end up on like a really weird podcast. I think maybe this is like demonetization territory, I'm gonna be honest. It has a lot of bad words. I think we'll skip that one. Scared after 11 years is crazy. My GF of 11 years left me yesterday. And this one sounds kind of sad. Not sure if I want to get into it. It does sound sad. Women have no respect for a lot of men. It only says comments, it doesn't say any updudes. Does this mean that it's super not upduted? Men want to feel needed and catered to. Women don't understand this. Oh dear. Oh no. Oh god. You know that if you go to like a men advice subreddit, which is of course gonna be skewed with like dudes, and it still gets downvoted into oblivion, you know that your opinion is like objectively shit. Anyway, let's dig into it, I suppose. Men want to feel needed and catered to. Women don't understand this. I mean, I think, okay. I help out a Mexican lady from Mexico at work. Okay. Oh, thank you so much for the 10. Listening to the stream while at work, and I realized I so now at some point just started listening to talk. It's been super relaxing to do a busy day, thank you. Oh, thank you so very much. I hope work is going well. She knows little English. She makes me feel needed, and we rely on each other. We help each other out a lot. She takes out my trash, I help her take out hers. Sometimes she doesn't understand my boss, so I interpret. Sounds like a wholesome work relationship, I'm gonna be honest. A Mexican lady from Mexico. Yeah, that's what that means, doofus. I mean, maybe, to give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe he clarified that, like, she's not only Mexican by heritage or whatever, she actually moved to the US herself. Does that make sense? Like, you know, she's both Mexican by heritage and nationality. Does that make sense? Mexican lady from Mexico, total red flag. I mean, I can give this sentence the benefit of the doubt, but I'm assuming it's gonna get way worse. I feel like a king at work because I helped this Mexican lady with English. I have realized that as men, we need to feel needed and valued as things we do. You could have just left it at, I have this little wholesome work experience where I help someone a little bit with their English. You could have left it at, no, is this gonna be some really weird red pill rabbit hole? Most women mistake catering as mothering, but it's not. It's showing appreciation. Men have done the same thing. But a lot of women don't actually want to listen to men and collaborate either, because women have no respect for a lot of men, especially these younger generations. Where the fuck did this come from? Am I the one who only feels like this is like two different things just glued awkwardly together? Like, I have this little relationship with someone at work and we help each other, it's productive and stuff. These young women don't respect men. What? What does this have to do? What? That came out of pocket. My friend from Africa said I should marry a lady from a foreign country. I'm just calling it as I see it. Immigrants treat me nice. Oh, he's gonna be a passport bro. He's gonna be a passport bro. Man. Ah yes, the black friend, the token black friend. I'm not a racist, because I had a black friend in high school once. You're 26, she's in her 40s and married. She and you work together. She empties your rubbish bin and you hers. And this makes you feel like a king at work? How is this an example of women not understanding you need to feel catered to? Yeah. Top comment gets it. I wasn't the only one who caught that. It's so weird and disconnected. What are you talking about? It's not an example unless you look at the subtext and OP's comments. He feels like a king, or more like a hero, because this woman needs, as in struggles to survive without him, bringing the language gap between her and the rest of the world. That is incredibly sweet. In the context of a little old lady at work. Unfortunately, what he's saying, he wants the same kind of reverence in his dating life and thinks he'll get it by dating immigrants. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's doing it for the wrong reasons, you know? I have personally enjoyed dating people who aren't from exactly the same background as me, because you learn a lot. You widen each other's horizons. It's very cool. Languages are cool. And so on and so forth, right? But this is the wrong reason to do it. It's like, I'm gonna date someone and basically be a passport bro because I want someone to be fully dependent on me. The fuck? No. Is he racist or sexist? You can be both. You can be both. That's the magical part about it. That kind of power dynamic in dating is just not sustainable. And he thinks that it is because women don't understand men needs to be worshipped, rather than he is seeking an unhealthy dynamic. Yeah, it sounds like the kind of dude who's like, I just want to feel worshipped, and the best way to do that is to find someone who is in need. This sounds like, you know, an abusive relationship in the making. This sounds so bad. Like, this, for me, this gives so many red flags. Like, I'm gonna specifically seek out someone who needs me for translation, so their own social network and safety net is gonna be incredibly limited. They're probably gonna depend on me for paperwork or finances, or both, and so on and so forth. I'm gonna hold all the power in the relationship, and unless I feel worshipped, I'm gonna drop them or whatever, and they're gonna have to deal with, you know, me putting them in that situation. Oh my god, this gets worse the more I think about it. Holy fuck, man. No. Yeesh. Bruh. Ugh. I wonder what his relationship with his mother is like. The mother is a Mexican lady from Mexico. Let's poll. Whoa. Is OP butt? Yes. No. The child is still the butt. There we go. I couldn't resist. Oh no! The child is still... Oh, okay, there we go. Now he's... Oh! It's just gonna be meme answers. I mean, this works better than real democracy, though, I'm gonna be honest. Poor little Timmy. Click. Think about it. Every bad person to ever exist was once a child. Hence, child is butt. Indeed. We should just lock all children in the coal mines. Because all bad people have been children at some point. So if you never let the children out, there's gonna be no more bad people. Flawless. Okay, so conclusion is children is to the... Nah. Is OP the butt? Yes. With a little bit of meme answer. If Minecraft has proven anything, it's that children yearn for the mines. I love yearning for mines. Missing reasons. Relationship advice. This one has a decent chunk of upvotes, though. This one might be a bit controversial. Maybe the real butt is the friend we made along the way. I love my friend's butts. I mean, I love... Anyway, my friend, my wife, my friend's butt, my wife, 38F, told me, 44M, that she doesn't need a fourth child. Meaning me, after I opened up about a painful situation I'm going through. Oh, insinuating that he would be the fourth child. Okay. JJ, thank you so much for the 50. That's way too generous. My husband's mother took him and his sibling out of state multiple times against the custody agreement. Father-in-law only even knew because of Life 360 on their phones. So he was able to let his lawyer know and get her lawyer to tell her to bring them back. God damn! Oh, that's nasty. I suppose that happens often. That seems like a very commonly occurring thing. Thank you so much for the super chat. My wife's friend's butt told me, we've been together for 18 years, married for 12, and although we struggled over the past 18 months, I thought we had worked through it. We were in therapy, had deep conversation, and shared good times as a family, with our 3 kids, 10F, 8F, 4F. There have still been up and downs in the last few months, but I was starting to feel uneasy again. Lately, work has been stressful, and I've been away from my family for 3 weeks. Yesterday marked the first anniversary of my dad's passing, and during a video call with my wife, I told her I missed my family and my dad and that I was feeling depressed. Instead of support, she got angry, probably because she was having a stressful day with the kids. When I tried to talk to her today, she just said she doesn't need a 4th child. Now I'm sitting here alone, crying, with no one from my family to talk to. I can't help but feel like this is a sign that our marriage is over. Jesus, this must make me sad. Bruh. This just makes me sad. Bad wife? Yeah, that's not a good response. What the fuck? Like, okay, fine. If she's stressed looking after the kids back home while he's away working, it's okay that they're both stressed, but that's not what you say to your partner. Dude, what? When you say the kids yearn for the mines, that's sort of mine. What sort of mines are you referring to? Minecraft? Or coal mines? Or uranium mines? Acid mines? Stress is one thing, neglect is another. Yeah, like even if you have like a really stressful day or you're sleep deprived because, you know, you had a sick child or whatever, telling your partner they need to stop acting childish because he's feeling sad and lonely because his dad is dead. It's like, man, that's not... I think both aren't doing well. Yeah, this doesn't sound great. This doesn't sound great. Looking at your previous posts, where you said you did not take the job that would require you to be away from home for 21 days each month, it seems like you did take the job. Yeah, because this is 3 weeks, right? I've been away from my family for 3 weeks. Yeah. Be away for 3 weeks each month. Holy shit. I mean, to give it the benefit of the doubt, it could also be unrelated. Like, this is one big one-time project that just happens to be the same time frame, but yeah. Who knows? Half of the people on Reddit aren't very truthful. It seems like you did take the job. Additionally, in your previous post, your wife cared for your family financially for months while you were out of work and trying to find a new job. Oh dear, there's a lot of context to this. This situation sounds way above my pay grade. Gonna be honest. On top of which, you expected her to quit the most fun part of her job so you could take a job which requires her to do all the parenting for 3/4 of every month. Okay, so this sounds like there's a lot of leading up to it. Like, obviously I still don't condone her comment in this. Like, that's not the way to go about it. Especially, like, in a moment of weakness, but, like, bruh. Ah, there it is. The context. When is the last time your wife has had a solid 8 hours away from your children? When is the last time you did something nice for her without expecting anything in return? Parenting is hard work when there are 2 parents working at it every day. Parenting 3 children solo for 3 weeks is a lot. I absolutely have sympathy for you in the anniversary of your father's death, but you've totally been dropping the majority of the mental load on your wife for years. At some point, everybody will break. He only edited that old post today. Oh, no. 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 Oh, no. No. God. My mother literally kidnapped me and the police said, well, she is with her mother, so she'll be okay. She didn't live where she said she did. Sounds like a classic police thing, I'm gonna be honest. Thank you so much, Leafy, for the 5. I hope you turned out okay. Jesus Christ. I'm not sexist, but men and women both deserve flowers. Valid. You uprooted and moved your family overseas, struggled, then finally got your dream job that have all been gone for 21 days every month. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, fam. I would never, ever in my life take a job that required me to be away for 3 weeks every month if I had kids. Holy shit. Like, I probably wouldn't even take that job if I just had a partner. You know? Like, just maintaining a regular relationship is gonna be difficult if you're gone 75% of the days every month, right? I wouldn't take this kind of job if I had a regular partner. At least if the partnership was serious enough, you know? But with kids, dear God, man. Looks like you did it anyway, though your wife said no. She's making sacrifice after sacrifice, and now she's a single mother 3 weeks every month to 3 kids, including a toddler. I'm assuming that's your struggles have been. Yeah, okay. So the comment... I mean, I still don't agree with the comment, honestly, but this is also downplaying it a lot. Probably because she was having a stressful day with the kids. Probably stressful 3 weeks. And stressful 3 weeks every month. Yeah. Gay superpower. When my husband got sad, missing his dad, I hugged him. None of this man up. You poo father, how dare you grieve your father. Yeah. Yeah, like... It sounds like he's being stinky, but this is also not the way to go about it. Like, even if your partner's being stinky, you don't slap it in their face the day they're mourning someone's death, you know? There are other moments to bring it up. Does that make sense? Do I think he deserves a slap on the wrist for what he's doing? Yeah, definitely. Does he sound like he's stinky? Yeah. But the comment isn't good just because of that, so meh. But he's still the stinker. He's still the main stinker in the story. can't blame the wife, honestly. Yeah, like, I wouldn't condone that sort of comment, especially in the context. But I also understand it. Does that make sense? It's like, there's a difference between, like, I completely understand it. I would also snap at some point. Doesn't mean that it's technically okay. I wouldn't condone it, but I get it. The wife is still the butthole for her comment, but overall, he's the butthole. Yeah, for sure. For sure. For sure. At a breaking point after years, people say mean things. Yep. Yeah, that's what I mean. It doesn't mean that the mean thing is okay, but I totally get it. Yeah, okay, so there seems to be a lot of context out of this. Let's do a little poll. Who is butt? He is butt. Wife is butt. Kid is the butt. Okay, I'm gonna do both is butt. Wife light butt. I'm gonna do in parentheses because I don't think she's like the main villain. I think she made inappropriate comments when she snapped, but it's very valid. Where is the childish butt? Oh shit, I have to redo the boat. Redo 69. Nice. Nice result. Nice 69. Okay. Who butt? He, her, both, more he, child. There we go, that's what I like to see. Can you imagine this? This would be so funny if you went into a story like this. You know, this whole thing, and then the top comedy just like, I don't know, man, your children kind of sound like little shits. You know, have you considered dropping them in the mines? And it just like upvoted to hell. Oh, that would be great. I would love that. That would be so funny. Poor girls, they did nothing, indeed. I hope they're still having a decent time. I mean, at that point, you know, 10 and 8, they're vibing in school and with friends and stuff. 4F is still with their parents 24/7, basically. Okay, thank you so much, Emilas, you beautiful bean. I don't know, man. Your kid definitely needs to be grounded or kept in a basement for 3 months. Wife is minor villain. Husband taking job is her villain origin story. Yeah, it's like I said. It doesn't mean it's an okay thing to say, but I totally get it. Religious bigotry is still bigotry. Ooh, r/controversial opinions. I haven't actually seen this subreddit before. It's like unpopular opinions, but a bit more doozy, I suppose. Rehome the children to the mines, smiley emoji. Woo! It's okay to not support things because of your religion. It's okay to be homophobic or transphobic because of your religion, but that's not an excuse for being a butthole. I don't support LGBTQ+, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna go out of my way to be mean to them. You should treat everyone with respect, even if you don't morally agree with them. Okay, but what if my belief, my religious belief, is that you are wrong? What happens then? Does that cancel it out? You know? You can twist and turn this kind of bullshit argument in all kinds of ways. What happened to my belief? That you are stinky. What happened to that? I'm Christian and I agree with this. You're all idiots. You're all idiots. Morbid, thank you so much for gifting a membership, you beautiful bean. Yet people with horrible religious takes are the first to cry persecution. Mass, thank you so much for gifting a member, you beautiful bean. Yeah, this is bullshit. For me, beliefs and stuff usually falls in the kind of category where if your belief means that you feel the need to control someone else's life, then you're in the wrong. Your belief should mean what you want to do with your life. If your belief says don't be gay, then I guess you have to not be gay then. You know, I still think that's toxic, mind you, because, you know, it comes with a lot of cultural and group pressure from around your surroundings in reality, right? But in the perfect world, when your belief would only affect yourself or whatever, then it's like, if you don't believe in gay, then don't be fucking gay then. You know? But you can't tell someone else to not be gay. You know? You know what I mean? Like, in reality, though, disclaimer, that's usually not the case, and people are always forced into the closet and that kind of stuff because of the religious prosecution in their surrounding and stuff. So in practice, that doesn't really work in reality. But I think my comedic comment can still be taken with a bit of a snort. OP, how dare you exist, Johnny? You feel... You know, I'm allowed to exist. We're here. Yes, indeed. My corgi fishy is one today, and he loves you. That is so sweet. Hell yes. Hell yes. I'm on a diet, so you can't eat pizza. Exactly. Exactly. So stinky. I'm Christian, I agree with this. Love thy neighbor, ? Love doesn't mean to support your neighbor you don't agree with. You know, this literal thing? You know, this goddamn commandment or whatever? Yeah, you know, here is context that I just made up to justify my first shitty comment. You know? You can love someone, but not support their life choices. Okay. But it's not really a choice, though, is it? Like, that's the thing. When you say, like, you can love someone, but not support their life choices, that's what you say in the context of, like, hey, bro, I appreciate you as a friend, but I don't think smoking crack cocaine is super good for your health. You know? That's what this means. Not like, you know, this part of your core, of you who you are, that you were born with, that you can't change. I don't agree with that. You know, that's not what this means. What? Bruh? We do it all the time with parent, kids, siblings, and friends. There's a difference. Yeah, but the key word is choice, bruh. The key word is choice. I don't know what planet you live on, but I didn't choose what I'm attracted to, or what I fall in love with. Okay? I didn't choose that, and I imagine most people don't. Moron. Absolute moron. Gay penguins. Indeed. I hope there's a comment that just says gay penguins. Actually, that's exactly what it means to love, respect, and uplift anyone around you, whether or not you like or agree with them. I mean, I would argue, like, in some contexts, like, of course, if you love someone, you would also want them to do well, and, you know, guide them away from things that are obviously harmful, you know, that sort of stuff. It's like, if one of my friends is, for example, in a really toxic relationship, I would tell them, like, yeah, it's probably better for you to break up, you know? It doesn't, if they still choose to go back to that partner, it doesn't mean that I'll stop caring about them as a friend. Maybe I don't agree with the decision, because I think it's bad for them, but it's still like a choice, right? Sexuality isn't a choice, okay? That's the difference here. Sexuality itself isn't a choice. First live stream ever caught, recently become addicted to your channel, much love from Denmark, welcome, and I do hope you enjoy your stay. Source, raised Christian, but no longer raised Christian, but no longer such. In high school, I learned another translation of the love in love thy neighbor. It's value, as in respecting their value as a human. Fun fact. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, I can imagine there's a lot of translate stuff. I believe in the gay agenda, hell yes. Supportive is not the same as enabling. Yeah, that as well. That as well. You know? If you have a friend who's like, I don't know, an alcoholic or something, the correct thing to do is try to help them with it, I suppose. Doesn't mean that you get to the point where they drag you down with them, don't get me wrong, but, you know, you wouldn't, if a friend is alcoholic and they're like, man, I really want to drink, giving them a bottle of vodka isn't what a good friend would do. You know, that sort of stuff. Enabling versus supporting or whatever, but that doesn't have to do, like, that's not sexuality though. Dear God. I see that I don't support, but I don't hate thing everywhere. It's such like a coward's way out. I'm gonna be honest. It's gonna be honest. Because then push comes to shove. It's like, okay, I don't support, but I don't hate. Okay, so for example, what would you hypothetically vote for then? For example, if you have two options and one says that being gay is fine and the other one says no, would that be a decisive factor then? Because you technically don't hate it, but you don't support it. So then you wouldn't vote for that thing anyway, which would actively be harmful to those people anyway. I'm like, It just seems like a coward's way out, where it's like, I'm technically not hateful, I'm just stupid. I find it odd that Christians don't follow their own rules. It's like, why? I mean, that's the thing with a lot of stuff in life, to be honest. Humans are silly little poo-poos. Religious people can never give a good reason why there's harm in being gay or trans. It's always just that God said no. Yeah, and I mean, there are plenty of cultures in the past, you know, who were super duper gay and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, it's weird, man. It's okay to not subscribe to psychotic religious beliefs. We tolerate it out of societal practicality, but such evil beliefs are definitely not okay. Fucking based. It's not okay to be hateful and try to apply your ideology to everyone. I think it's also using the ideology as an excuse, to be honest. I think where a lot of this kind of garbage comes from. I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember the Bible passage where it's like, love thy neighbor. Unless they're fucking gay or something, you know? Or a Mexican from Mexico. You know? I think it's just shitty people looking for some sort of institution or an excuse or a label or a moral high ground to justify what they do, you know? It's usually what I say. It's like, man, some of these like very religious people, if you're the people I'm gonna share heaven with, I'd rather go to hell. I lived with Mormons for a bit. Don't recommend. I can imagine. Thank you so much, Mingalasso. Alright, so we're gonna do a little poll on this one. So, is OP butt? Yes? No? The child is still the butt. It's all the child. It's Timmy's fault. He's homophobic. Damn those 3-year-old homophobes. It reminds me of a friend I had in primary school. She and her family was Christian, but they were so supportive of me being trans more than my actual family. So it's not an excuse to be against LGBTQ+. Exactly. Yeah, that's a super good example of it. Because not everyone who's religious is like this either, obviously. This is just like shitty people who try to use something as an excuse to be shitty. It's like, oh, I'm a piece of stink? Well, actually, this ancient book said it's okay. But technically, it doesn't even do that. It's like that guy in the comments who's like, love thy neighbor. But it doesn't mean that you need to, like, actually love them, you know? Bruh. Well, child is still the butt one. Great, I love democracy. Oh, this is like, this title is good. Mom goes no contact with 16-year-old. Oh, bruh. Would I be the butthole for telling my daughter to stop pushing for a relationship that's never gonna happen? I mean, you can tell right away that this is gonna be a bad one because all the kids are like pretty young, you know? I could imagine if it's like, oh yeah, a kid was genuinely awful and you're all adults now or whatever. It's like, okay, but it's like 16, 14, 10, 9, 6, and 4. That's also a lot of kids. 6 kids? Holy shit, that's a big family, man. Oz did this one. Ooh, let's see if I agree with Oz on this one. Hell yeah. Grim, thank you so much for gifting a membership. Lizzie and Haley are from a previous relationship, while the rest are my current husband. When Lizzie was born, I never felt the real connection to her, the way most mothers feel with their children. Ah, so you decided on this when they were still a literal baby. They were barely conscious and you were just like, I don't feel the vibe? Great, mom of the fucking year. I couldn't explain it, but instead of love or joy, I just felt indifference. Sounds like a you problem, bro. My mother told me that she felt the same when I was born, but once I was a toddler, she felt the motherly love for me she was supposed to. I waited for that, and it never happened. My whole life, I never felt parental love for her in the way I have for my other kids. Sounds like something you should probably bring up in therapy, bruh. Sounds like therapy. This isn't the kid's fault. What are you? Don't get me wrong. I love her, but not in the deep way a mother usually loves her kids. Ex-husband and I eventually got divorced, and I met my current husband. We expanded our family, and I have been happier than I have with this man and my kids. Lizzie and Haley are split custody with my husband, with them usually going every other weekend to his house. Unfortunately, Lizzie never liked my new husband. I did everything I could to get them to get along, and we even went to family therapy, but nothing worked. Yeah, but how is it supposed to work? You go to family therapy, and you tell like, well, daughter, I kind of hate you, bro. And the daughter is like, but why though? He's like, I don't know, I just never loved you, you know? I never had a connection, you know, your vibes, the vibrations, you know? Yeah. How's that supposed... What do you mean? How's that supposed to work? I was raised Catholic. Even if you disapprove of something, we're not supposed to judge others. This is why I left the church. Too much bigotry. And it's a shame. It really is a shame. I know people too who have found like comfort in belief, for example, when they've gone through horrible periods in life or grieving lost ones or what have you. I think there is something speaking to people that we as humans seek out, you know, answers to questions that are really difficult. But I also see it being used as an excuse to so much awful shit, which is a shame. Because it could be beautiful. Sometimes it is. But, man, I see it being ugly so often. It's more than just a simple, you're not my dad kind of thing. She full-on hates him, which makes me so sad. Wait, when did they meet, though? I could have got them along. I mean, I'm assuming the youngest two are from the current marriage. And I'm assuming they met a little while before... Oh, wait, 6... Oh, I read that 6 months first. Like, how the fuck did you have a baby at 6 months and 4 months? But no, it's 6M, so male. So if he's 6, and maybe they met like a year or two before that, let's say 2 years, so it would be 8. She would have been like 8 or 9 years oldish when she met her new husband. Yeah, okay. She full on hates him, makes me so sad. I mean, honestly, this might also be... You know, if I'm gonna be honest, if you, as the mother, admittedly never really loved her, and now the father, who I'm assuming hopefully loved her at least, is sort of further away from the picture, and she's in your household with a mother that doesn't love her, and a new stepfather, who's probably, you know, you're focusing more on the small kids, you know, they had together. Yeah, I could see her being a little bit bitter, I'm gonna be honest. She won't even be in the same room as him without me there, which makes him sad too. Lizzie had also defied us more as she's gotten older and it's stressful. I mean, that can also be explained by something that starts with T and ends with E-nager. I don't have any problem with Haley, but Lizzie feels it's too much for her family. She loves her siblings, of course, but things are tense otherwise. Now for the incident that led to everything falling apart. Mark had gotten suspended from school for getting into a fight with someone else. So Mark is the middle child, 10M. He said it was in self-defense, and I believe him, but it's not an excuse to risk getting suspended for it. What kind of shit attitude is that? I hate this attitude. I hate this attitude. If your kid acted in self-defense, and you genuinely believe it, you buy them ice cream. You buy them ice cream. You tell them that, yeah, violence certainly isn't the first step we take, but sometimes it's damn necessary. Like if you get jumped, and you beat the crap out of the person who jumped you, I'm gonna buy you ice cream, okay? Like, bruh. Husband and I yelling at him for it, and Lizzie stepped in and got in my face. Good, Lizzie is an MLG, man. Lizzie is a bro. Hell yeah. Defending yourself is never wrong. Yeah, the other person is the one who made it physical. That's the thing. Self-defense is always okay. And it should always be encouraged. Violence is never the answer. Don't look in history books. Child isn't butt in this one. For once, Timmy is innocent. The child is not the butt. Woo! Telling me that I shouldn't talk to her brother that way. Yeah, indeed. Imagine, the brother just got bullied in school. Finally stood up for himself. He gets home and gets yelled at some more. Wow, what a supportive life, hell yeah. I told her to stay out of it, because of how my husband and I handle parenting is none of her business, but she refused to back down, hell yeah. My husband began arguing with her, and she told us both to go F off, and things got a bit out of hand. My husband stepped back and I got angry at her for mouthing off at me like that. Things are a bit hazy here, but it ended up with me calling her dad and telling him to come get her. I told her to pack her necessities and she can get the rest later, but she needs to go now. Okay, so you were a piece of shit parent, both to her, and you admitted to like never loving her, which is wild, and then you're not supportive against your other kid who was being bullied and stood up for themselves, and because she said, hey, that's not okay, then you like alienate her from your household? Man, what a power trip. Things are a bit hazy here equals I abused my kid. Yeah, right. It's always like that. Like, it's a bit hazy. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I can't speak for everyone, right? I think certainly the haziness stuff can certainly apply to situations, right? But I have been in some arguments in my days, not like this, but you know, dealing with drunk people, weird, aggressive people, creepy people, whatever. It's never been hazy. I'm gonna be honest. You know, I've never been at the point where like, I can't remember what happened. Like, no. I can remember every single word. There's such a gross outlook on a kid's life. I watch your vids while I do art. I have a friend who sadly passed who loved your content. That is so sad. Thank you for the 5, Grim. I hope you're doing okay. I hope we got to agree with their family and everyone. Sorry for your loss. Defy and mouthing off are strange words to use in these cases. Yeah. Yeah. What's the opposite of a butt? A bob. She has been living full-time at her dad's for a couple of weeks now. Things have definitely cooled off, but this made me change my perspective in some ways. Lizzie has been trying to reconcile. Oh, so she's being the adult in more than one way. She doesn't have her phone. We never let her have her phone at her dad's. What? What? What do you mean? What? What, a 16-year-old can't have their phone when they're at the other parent's place? What? Wait, what? What do you mean? What the what? Everything in this post screams, stepdad abuses Lizzie and both OP and stepdad are beating the other kids. Yeah, sort of, right? This screams like really controlling, weird household. We never let her have her phone at her dad's. What do you mean? So she just leaves and you like lock her phone in a box or something? What do you mean? Why can't she have her phone at her dad's? What? Part-time phone privileges? But my ex-husband has been keeping me in the know about it, and all she says she wanted to apologize and make things right. She even wrote a letter to me asking to talk. I honestly don't think I want a relationship with her anymore. So you are gonna cut off your 16... the red flags in this post is already all over the place. You've said, like, you don't really love her due to some sick thing and you never worked on it. You don't let her have her phone if she's not in your household. You go off at another child in your household when they got bullied and stood up for themselves, doing what I think is like the opposite of what you should do as a parent. If my potentially future kid, or like my nephew or something, came to me and be like, yeah, I've had this bully at school, they jumped me, and I punched them back, I'd be like, fuck yeah, I'll buy an ice cream, and then I'll take you to the gym and I'll teach you how to throw some better punches. That's what I would do. Holy shit, I fucking hate bullies. I hate bullies so much. And this attitude, I hate this attitude so much. It's like this toxic pacifism, where it's always the victim has to be a pacifist. You can shove that where the sun doesn't shine, Jesus fucking Christ. Drinking game, hardcore edition. A shot whenever Click says I'm gonna be honest, yeah. We're all gonna be so dead. We're all gonna be so dead. Dear God. After all this, I just don't think it's worth it. I haven't responded, but my ex-husband wants to try reconciliation and even offered to pay for family therapy. My husband agrees with me on not letting her back into my life. I mean, yeah, your husband is also POS. Surprise, surprise. I got bullied as a kid. The point of it causing mental problems, and my parents begged me to fight back. OP is, in my opinion, a garbage parent. Of course OP is a garbage parent, yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like your parent had the right idea, although of course, sometimes it's easier said than done, but I'm really glad they were at least in your corner, you know, they weren't blaming you for it. Sometimes it doesn't make it easier, like sometimes bullies team up, or they're simply older, or much bigger, or what have you, like, sometimes it can be really difficult, even if you have people in your corner, but at least they had your side, you know? We will allow her to see her siblings, but I don't want anything to do with her, honestly. Okay, because she mouthed off once, because she didn't like how you treated, and also it sounds like you're just absolute garbage people. Unfortunately though, she hasn't gotten the hint and is still pushing for us to reconcile. She's being... I mean, maybe she's also just concerned about the other kids in the household, I'm gonna be honest. That's why she's trying to reconcile, so she can be there to support her siblings. We've had incidents like this before where she was sent to her dad's full time for a while so we could cool off, but I think this time might be for good. Ah, so this is not the first time you've been a butt. The courts aren't involved in our custody, so there's no problem there, but I can't get her to stop and leave me alone. Are you seriously gonna claim that your 16-year-old is harassing you? Bruh. You're trying so hard to make yourself out to be the victim here. I am planning to let her know that I don't want a relationship with her anymore, and she should let it go. Would I be the butthole if I did this? You're already the butthole. You're such a garbage person. It is insane. You are such a trash person. Oh my god. And the whole not supporting your child when they're being bullied and jumped and stuff, that makes something in my blood boil, man. Jesus Christ. How have you had 6 kids and be this trash with kids? That is insane. Lady, you are a walking red flag. Please tell me this is not real. My heart breaks for Lizzie. Yep. Not just Lizzie, but it sounds like they're verbally abusive, not physically. Note, things got out of hand comment to the other kids too. Yeah, things got out of hand, and it's a bit hazy, and blah 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 blah, but it escalated. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. She was yelling at a 10-year-old where it got that bad. Yeah, right? A 10-year-old who was being bullied and jumped at school. You know? OP works for all the kids to go no contact one day. I hope they do. I hope they do, and then they live happily ever after. Why did you think it was a good idea to get more kids after not being able to bond with your firstborn? Why do you think it was a good idea, proper idea to yell at your son, especially since you say you believe that it was self-defense? And just in general, yeah, this is also so nasty, because what happens with this is that you will give the child anxiety about standing up for themselves, right? I have seen this happen, and it's a really nasty thing, because what happens is that you tell your kid that if they are in a confrontation or disagreement, they are by default in the wrong. This is what you're teaching your kid when you do this. This is terrible. It enables anyone to treat them like trash, because as soon as they're in a conflict, even if they're just being attacked, they will think that they did something wrong. Piece of shit parent. And just in general, what is wrong with you? If this story is real, you're not just a walking red flag, you're a goddamn walking neon red flag. Don't be surprised when sooner, rather than later, all your kids will go low to no contact with you. Yep. Yep. She's 16, you kicked her to the curb of your own lack of feeling. You have done and continue to do unimaginable harm to your daughter. I don't know how to fix feelings, but I know this is just plain wrong. And even, right, even if you were to feel something like that, you could argue like, oh, it's not a conscious decision. Something clicked, haha, pun intended, clicked in your biology, or whatever, and you don't have a strong feelings for it. You are aware that something is like wrong, you know, you're talking about it like, oh, this is probably wrong or something like that, and my mother told me it's gonna be fine and stuff, insinuating that you know it's bad. Then it's like, if you are feeling this thing, but on some level you know it's wrong, then you hide the fuck out of it, okay? You if it's like, oh my god, my motherly instinct didn't kick in properly with this specific kid, you treat them as if it did, okay? Okay? Do the elderly home, indeed. Indeed. I was a bully beater as a kid and always teach kids to fight back. Hell yeah, that's what I like to see. It's heartbreaking. You're an adult. Do the right thing. If it's true, get yourself to counseling by yourself and then with her. Also a reminder, all primates, humans included, are super dependent on their caregivers. All primates will run to even an abusive caregiver for comfort. That's in the Primates OS. Yeah, indeed. That's why I've always had very strong opinions about, for example, the insane parents topics and that sort of stuff, because being a caregiver is one of the strongest power dynamics you will ever have in life, you know? So being a caregiver and also being a POS, like this person, is like one of the worst combinations that exists. You're the butthole. You were just waiting for the chance to abandon her. Yep. Okay, let's do a little bit of a poll, shall we? Let's do a bit of a poll. Is OP the butt? Yes. Also yes. Yes. Well, yes. There we go. I love democracy. Whoa. Timmy wasn't a butt after all. Why is it always the wrong lever? Isn't this joke old by now? Always the wrong lever? What? I don't get it. OP is such a butt. I will vote in this poll specifically. Okay, so we have about 100% yes. We have yes, also yes, yes, and well yes. This is great. This is great. What great and very different options. 3 yeses for democracy. Wrong lever. Oh, it's like a reference I don't get. Oh dear, I think this one will skip. I can't read that on YouTube. Oh, here's another one. Oh, no, there's another red pill one. Fuck me, man. Okay, here we go. What's the result? Is OP the butt? Well, yes. 39% yes, 30% also yes, 22%, and yes, 7%. I love democracy. Women will invariably lie to you. I, 29M, ran a catfishing experiment and my insights are depressing. Okay, this one has been removed. Shit ton of comment. And the top comment just says, bro, you suck. In order for your experiment to have worked, you needed to say exactly the same things you said that put her off the first time. Then you could maybe have some evidence for your looks are more important claim. Instead, all you succeed in doing is being a very creepy weirdo. Okay, I think it's saved here. In the mod. Auto mod. Yeah, here it is. Here's the OG post. This is great. I, 29M, ran a catfishing experiment, and my insights are depressing. I recently came to New York City from Europe, and I met this woman on Hinge about 5 or 6 months ago. We went on 2 dates, kissed, and things seemed fine until she told me she wanted to focus on someone else. Yeah, it happens. It's online dating, man. Today, she ended up liking my Chadfish account. No. No. It could also be an excuse, I'm gonna be honest. Like, if she actually met up with you, you were kissing and stuff, and later she told you no for whatever reason, maybe it wasn't the looks, man. Have you thought about that? You know, I understand what point you're trying to prove now, but, like, no. It's from a movie called The Emperor's New Groove. It's good and you should watch it. Oh, it's that one! Shit, I saw that when I was like 10, I think. Curious, I asked her a few questions, including whether she had dated a European guy, since I'm from Europe, and if so, why it ended. Guess what? She actually admitted that she ended things because she didn't like a few comments I made, despite previously telling me she wanted to see someone else. Okay, so this should be pretty clear. You said some stuff that gave her red flags, the icks, if you will, right? And then instead, then of course, because of these red flags, she was like, I'm not sure if he will take this rejection very well. I'm gonna give him another reason for why I don't want to hang out. Seems reasonable. Okay. She doesn't owe you an explanation. You weren't married or exclusive or whatever. You had been on like 1 or 2 dates, right? 2 dates, I think you said. Man. This should be more of like a self-insight than anything. It's like, you should have stopped there and be like, man, my catfish account taught me something about myself. I give off these red flags because I made these. I don't even know what he was talking about. He was talking about Andrew Tate's podcast or something. I don't fucking know. And man, women don't like that, huh? Who would have thunk it? On top of that, when I asked if she found me, real me, attractive, she said yes, but not as much as my Chadfish profile. Pure rage fuel, but I was using a male model pic, so understandable. Not to be that guy, but of course, she's gonna say that the person she's currently talking to is the hotter one as well. I mean, sure, I don't doubt that, you know, properly retouched model photos were better looking than a typical guy on Tinder, like, don't get me wrong. But she also wouldn't tell you if it wasn't, you know? This is so dumb. This whole thing is so stupid. It's insane how much women lie. Fuck, dude. What did she lie? Oh yeah, I guess she told you she was seeing someone else instead of telling you what your red flags were. Okay. Wow. What a horrible lie. I'm a piece of shit. Women are worried that I'm gonna blow up if they tell me I'm a piece of shit, so they gave me another excuse not to meet up anymore. Man, women are such liars, huh? So I made a catfish account to stalk her and get the truth out of her. Cool. They always use excuses like not feeling the spark or lacking connection, but in reality they will eagerly go for the guy they find attractive. But she did find you attractive! She literally said, even to this other fake account, which I would imagine she was being honest because she has no reason to lie at this point, you know, because it isn't completely not a person and whatever, that you were perfectly attractive and she found you attractive. What were the comments you made? I want to know that. What were the comments you made? Okay? God. I ended up deleting the Chatfish profile because I couldn't handle how popular it was. It was getting an insane number of likes. Okay, a profile of a model gets a lot of likes on Tinder. Yeah. I am not surprised. Don't get me wrong, Tinder sucks. Okay? It sucks for everyone. For women, it's a swamp. For men, it's a desert. Okay? It sucks for everyone. Don't go on Tinder. But... So what are you gonna do next? Make like a catfish profile on Instagram with some model that is completely ripped and with professional photos and be like, oh my god, I get more likes on this than my ugly bathroom selfies. No fucking shit, dude. Are you Why do people do this to themselves? Anyway, even from model tier women, despite having shitty prompts stating that I'm only looking for friends with benefits or one-night stands. I mean, also, I'm gonna be honest, if you're stating in your profile that you're only looking for friends with benefits, of course people are gonna look for hot people. They're not gonna look for like, oh my god, do we have things in common? Do we have a connection? They're gonna be like, okay, I wanna sleep with someone. I'm gonna go swipe on some hot people. Of course you would swipe on hot people. I imagine that's what everyone does that are into friends with benefits and one-night stands. Okay? Like, bruh. Some of likes even came from women who showed only long-term relationship. The double standards are unreal. Okay, so you don't swipe right on model tier attractive women on Tinder? Like, this is the... I've always found these kind of posts to be the dumbest shit ever. It's like, oh wow, a model tier dude got attention for his looks. Yeah, so do model tier women. Attractive privilege and attractive attention is the thing. It doesn't really matter who you are. What the what? Double standards. There are no double standards. People like hot people. The fuck? Dear God, dude. Oh my... And also it's Tinder, okay? Tinder is very hookup-y. Of course people are gonna swipe. Like... Not everyone will read description. That too. If they see a picture and be like, man, he hot. They're gonna swipe right! OP discovers pretty privilege. Yeah, this is so weird. You should be... In that case, you should be more like, man, pretty privilege sure is a thing, especially on places like Tinder. What do you mean it's a double standard? Like you are not swiping right on hot women on Tinder. Is that what you're trying to make me believe? No, this is a double standard. Only women swipe on hot people on Tinder. I would never swipe on a hot person on Tinder. Most enthusiastic, bruh. Dark Fox, thank you so much for the 5, you beautiful bean. 5 uncontestable truths I learned. Number 1, women will invariably lie to you and chase the most attractive man. But dude, my bro, my dear bro, she wasn't chasing someone more attractive than you. She broke it off before you even made your Chadfish account. What is this point? What on earth is this point? And oh yeah, I have never seen dudes chase attractive women. Yeah, I've never seen that happen either. Wow. What a fucking double stand. I swear to God, people in this gender war are... Oh, it's so dumb. It's so dumb, man. Oh my God. If you want to make an argument about like pretty privilege and how insane it gets in some circumstances, that would be an interesting take. Because that is like flabbergasting, both for men and women. how vastly different you get treated depending on it. You can, for example, listen to people that have gone through a glow-up. Or, for example, someone that was dealing with depression and gained a lot of weight. And then they, for example, lost the weight, got in shape, got happier, so they glow more, fixed skin issues, that kind of stuff. And like, bam, how they went from invisible to like everyone being nice to them. You know, if you want to talk about how incredibly wild pretty privileges in the world we live in, that would be an interesting topic to talk about, and it's very real. But trying to pretend that this is some kind of hypocrisy in a gender war is just insane. It's just insane. Anyway, personality, confidence, wealth, or cherry on top, but looks are the cake itself in Western countries. You mean, okay, so you mean that on Tinder specifically, and your sample size of like one girl on Tinder with your catfish profile, yeah, people on Tinder are gonna be vapid. Yeah, you're swiping based on looks. That's what you do. That's the whole idea with a dating app like that. People care about looks on a dating app where you see looks before you've talked to them. Wow. Yeah. Even if they claim they don't do hookups, etc., there will always be an attractiveness threshold for whom they will spread their legs, those sleuths. I'ma be honest, man. I think the same is true for dudes as well. Are you serious? Like, so, a lot of people will bend all kinds of standards. I mean, the classic thing I see for dudes is like, you know, when they talk about the hotness versus crazy scale or stuff like that, you know? It's like, man, oh, don't you hate it when a woman is into astrology? But then it's like, oh my god, she's really hot, I'm gonna learn all the astrology signs, you know? Okay. So isn't that also a double standard then? That you hate astrology, which I'm not a big astrology fan, don't get me wrong, but like, you hate astrology, and then the girl is hot enough so you pretend to like astrology? Like, isn't that a stereotypical thing? Spread your legs for the astrology, dude, embrace the peg! Anyway. It is truly sad that for some reasons, maybe there's a biological explanation, yeah, people like hot people, especially people on Tinder, women find only a very few % of men genuinely attractive, like with jawline, hairline, height, etc. Almost all other are invisible, and they only have to settle for long-term relationship by using personality, etc. God forbid we have to use personality. But looks are always the indisputable truth. You know what I have learned in life? At least for me, looks is certainly part of the first interest, but true attractiveness comes when you have both. I'm gonna be honest. Oh, there's me saying I'm gonna be honest again. Hell yeah. Like, it's a combination. I remember, if I'm gonna debunk this based on a sample size of 1 in my own experience, this is more of an anecdote, so bear with me, but I remember, this was many years ago, I was single in my early 20s, and I was at a New Year's party, I think it was. And there was this absolute smoke show there. Very beautiful person. She had like really cool hair, very nice figure, an awesome dress, really beautiful, like 10 out of 10 looks, right? Could have easily been an Instagram model in a different life. Like, damn. And I started talking to her, and our chemistry was like nail on chalkboard. Oh, nah, it was so bad. It was so bad, man. And the attraction just like instantly. There was no chemistry. There was nothing going on. It was just like dead. So after that, it was like, yeah, I can acknowledge that, you know, they're objectively good looking, but there is no attraction here. There is no chemistry. There's no pizzazz. So, yeah. So sure, the looks made me say hi, but nothing happened because the personalities were just off. A casual sex with average and above average women is mostly reserved for attractive men. Okay. Having a gym body doesn't... I mean, I know plenty of people where this is vastly disproven, I'm gonna be honest, fam. I know some real slutty dudes who got like serious games, and it's not because they look like Henry Cavill. Having a gym body doesn't really add much value, and if you're balding, you're severely losing your attractiveness. Okay. So be a twink with hair, I guess. Is that the takeaway from the story? Jesus Christ. Whatever comments he made must have been pretty vile, since he wasn't willing to repeat them, and yet somehow he decides that it was about his looks rather than about the objectionable thing he said to her. Yeah, that's what I mean. He's trying to justify it as, women will always lie and chase the more attractive man, even though she dumped her, before he ever came on with the Chadfish account. God forbid a woman finds a man on Tinder attractive. Thank you so much, 5 months Noble Lasso. The message has been redacted, it says, but thank you. Bruh. This whole thing is like a really weird cope. It's a weird cope, and it's trying to, like, create a weird ideology about women being sleuths for hot dudes, and, you know, they will lie and chase people. But in reality, his self-discovery journey should have, like, started and ended here. You know? When he found out that, he made some weird comments, and that's why she dropped him. Okay, dude, if the comments were really so much of nothing burgers, what were the comments? What were the comments then? I want to see what the comments are on the original post. Bro, you just suck. In order for your experiment to have worked, you needed to say exactly the same thing you said that put her off in the first place. That is actually a good point. That is actually a good point. If he wanted to make an experiment, still with a sample size of 1, which I would argue still falls into the same category of when dudes do like, oh man, I pretended to like astrology so I could be with this hot chick, you know. It falls in the same category. But then he would have had to make the same weird comments that made her dip the first time with his hot account, right? If he had done that and she had not dipped, then it's like, okay, maybe you can prove that this one girl is a bit of a hypocrite, which I would argue is on the same level as the dudes who are like, man, I pretended to like astrology for this hot chick, you know? Wow. So, meh. I'm really wondering what those comments were. Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm also wondering. Then you could maybe have some evidence for your looks are more important claim. Instead, all you succeed in doing is being a creepy weirdo. Yep. And notice how it's just conveniently, she didn't like what I said, with no mention of what exactly put her off. Probably some gross bigoted BS, like he says in this post. Yeah, if this is the post he made about his whole experiment and like creeping on a girl that turned him down on a catfish account, I cannot imagine like the comments that he actually made. And you think this is normal and proving a point that she is bad somehow. Dude, you're making catfish accounts to creep on someone that turned you down. What are you doing? Someone I dated, oh, I hate alcohol too, when I said I was a teetotaler. I'm not sure what that is. The second I rejected him, he posted, women suck, who wants to get drunk with me? Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, I get it. Okay, so he was told, like, I don't drink too. I'm also a non-drinker. And then the moment he was turned on, he's like, let's go fucking drink. Yeah, it's exactly like that. Jesus Christ. High quality trash. Thank you so much for gifting 5 members. I would screw the persification of geometry, so your hotness isn't a factor. Ayy. High quality trash. Thank you so much for being a royal lasso. That is way too generous. Thank you so much. In one of the Metal Gear games, there's actually a guy who says, my source is that I made it the fuck up. Oh, I love that. That is a clip that's been so memed. I love that one. It's like, nice argument, Senator. But can you back that up with a source? My source is that I made it the fuck up. That's basically this. She found you attractive, but didn't like an opinion you expressed. So she decided she didn't want a relationship with you, and your takeaway is that women only care about looks? Yeah, that's the wildest thing about the story. It doesn't even prove the point he wanted it to prove. That's nuts on your part. Look, some opinions are deal breakers, and if it was a deal breaker opinion for her, that's fair. Her not telling you that was the problem is definitely not right, but depending on what the opinion is, maybe it is understandable that some people don't handle disagreements well. Or, you know, another takeaway is, if the opinion was bad enough to be a deal breaker, maybe you're also worried that the person who holds this opinion isn't going to take rejection from a woman very well. I can imagine the opinion is pretty like heavily correlated with that. You know, if it's a deal breaker for dating, it's probably a red flag for women in general. I'm just gonna assume that. But, if anything, it proves the opposite of what you're implying, and that women care more about personality than they do looks. Yeah, like his story proves the exact opposite. It's kind of funny, isn't it? Dude, you need to seek help immediately. Your physical appearance is not at all the issue. The issue is your insanity, paranoia, and refusal to accept what everyone around is telling you, and the truth you don't like. Yup. Yup. I mean, even on the Ask Men Advice subreddit, like, so this is all dudes being like, bruh, what are you doing? It's nice when everyone on the gender spectrum can come together and realize that something is Let's do a little poll. Is OP the butt? Yes. No. Timmy is still the butt. People are just poo no matter their gender. Yeah, it's almost like, you know, being stinky comes in all shapes and sizes. Isn't that beautiful? What a takeaway. Yes, no, Timmy's still the butt. 45%, Timmy. Gotta step it up. I love being able to vote. Ah, super democracy. Yeah, I think this one is 1% no. Dude's lurk in the stream. Dude is destructive AF. My friend let me move in after my parents kicked me out. But now he's furious because I can't cook, my food smells disgusting, and I feel like a complete burden. Okay. This sounds like a bad roommate story, doesn't it? So I, 28 and autistic, moved in with my friend Jake, fake name, a few weeks ago after my parents kicked me out. Long story short, they threw away my entire Funko Pop collection. I lost it, broke my dad's phone, and got told to leave. Okay. Jake and I have been friends since middle school, so I thought living together would be fine, but it's turning out to be a disaster, and it's mostly my fault. I can't cook, like, at all. At 28, you can't cook at all? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not a super big fan in the kitchen unless I'm doing it socially. I wouldn't call myself an amazing cook, but I can whip things together, fam. Like, bruh. I've always struggled with timing, smells, and just knowing when food is actually done. On top of that, I hyper-focus on weird food combinations because I get obsessed with specific taste and textures, which is where things went really wrong. Oh. Oh. Oh yeah, I'd also go crazy if they threw away my expensive collections. Yeah. It makes me wonder if there's like some more context to this. You know? I have no... It sounds very random. But yeah, I would also throw a fit if people randomly throw away my stuff. So maybe this part is true. That's perfectly, entirely possible. Maybe the parents just suck. Or maybe it's some kind of thing, you know. He was 28, doing weird shit around the house. The collection was messy or something. I don't know. Who the hell knows? The first time I tried to make tuna ramen, I saw it in the video, but somehow I overcooked the noodles until they were mush, dumped in way too much mayo and mustards because the recipe said a little, but I couldn't figure out what that meant, and then accidentally left the burner on low, so the whole thing got this sour, burnt fish smell that hung in the kitchen for days. How? Aaron, thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships, you beautiful bean. Okay, as a roommate, yeah, no, I can understand why things are a bit frictionate. Another time, I made hot dog rice, which is just chopped hot dogs mixed with rice and ketchup. Yeah, it's a typical student meal, hell yeah. Except I burned the rice to the bottom of the pot, and somehow the hot dogs came out rubbery and gray. How did you make hot dogs gray? What did you do to them that turned them gray? Holy shit. I remember this story. He was completely failed by his parents, but also has some weaponized incompetence. Ah, it's one of those ones. Okay. Yeah. Don't let bro cook. Amen. Jake walked in, gagged, and asked if something died in the kitchen. Roommate has some humor, though. I honestly couldn't even smell it by then because I'd gotten used to it. It's not just that the food is bad, it smells awful. Burnt, sour, greasy, just bad. I can tell Jake is getting more and more pissed. He's mentioned the smell a few times. Like, dude, it smells like garbage disposal in here. What are you even cooking? And I never know how to answer without embarrassing myself. The final straw was last night when I tried to make scrambled eggs with canned chili mixed in. Don't ask why. I thought it sounded good at the time. I burned the eggs. Okay, I'm gonna be honest though. I mean, sure, I've cooked with my parents and stuff a bit, right? But most of the cooking I know, I just kind of learned by myself. Like when I learned to cook, I don't know, lasagna, for example, I just like, okay, I know what a lasagna looks like. I know what it is because I've eaten lasagna before. I'm just going to look up a recipe online. Super fucking easy. It's like, oh yeah, I just boil some goddamn bolognese, make a little sauce with milk and shit, and then just buy these plates in your store, and then just oven and done. It's like, what? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Like I never thought I was good at cooking, but this story, maybe I'm a whiz. The chili somehow separated into greasy sludge, and the whole apartment smelled like feet and a wet dog. What do you mean? What do you mean? The parent might be like, oh no, he's autistic, I can't do anything, and didn't teach him. But he needs to learn from someone else to cook, or keep timers at least, instead of watching it. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I can totally buy parents ill-preparing their kids and being weirdly overprotective until it reaches a boiling point, you know, which is bad for everyone. But this is like, damn. At the click, for some people on the spectrum, it's very difficult to follow recipes in cooking. The multiple steps get overwhelming. Yeah, but I mean... But like, some of this is just like set a timer for the eggs. Like that sounds like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to minimize something because I don't know what it's like. I'm gonna be honest. But like, I could get that if it's like, you know, complicated recipes and you're like frying meat over here, boiling potatoes over here, you know, something in the oven, you're supposed to make a salad on the side, and you know, it's a fucking mess in the kitchen. Like, yeah, but this is like literally just set a timer on your phone and then just take it off the stove when the timer rings. Like, I don't know, man. Like, that sounds... And it's over and over again. Like, it's countless stories about like every single time they're in the kitchen, it always burns and slodges and stuff. Like, you don't even need to buy a timer, you have a phone. Holy shit. You should start with the real basic, small stuff. I've been cooking for like 10 years. Still don't try most of the TikTok recipes. Yeah, I mean, do super basic stuff. Buy like, you know, finished meatballs in the store and quick pasta. And just boil the pasta for 10 minutes. Fry up the meatballs. That's it. Shit like that. I used to do that all the time when I was a student. To be fair, it was cheaper then, but still. My husband has ADHD, and when he cooks, he just has to prepare everything very carefully, and he is good. And that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, structure it in the way that works for you, and that can be different for everyone. And that's a super good way of dealing with it. But damn. OP needs occupational therapy, seriously? God damn. To make it worse, I left the pot soaking in the sink afterwards because the burned ramen incident made me think soaking stuff was the best way to handle it. I figured I would clean it in the morning. But Jake saw it, lost it, and went off about how I can't just break his shit and expect him to clean up after me. I didn't even realize I was doing that. I genuinely thought I was helping by soaking it. I mean, sure, but the problem is you're also sharing the kitchen with someone else. Like, I soak things, but... Oh my god. I feel awful. I know I'm the problem, but I don't know how to fix it. Cooking has always been hard for me. I get overwhelmed and forget steps, or I hyper-focus on one thing and screw everything else up. Start with super simple things. Super simple things. But now I'm just... now I'm not just embarrassing myself, I'm making my only friend miserable. I feel like a disgusting burden. I'm scared I'm going to end up homeless because I can't figure out how to cook like a normal person. I need to get this off my chest. Oh my god. Cook together, maybe? That's a good first step, honestly. 28? Yeah, Jesus Christ, man. Oh, no. Yeah, I need to prep everything before I turn the heat on, or I get stressed out that I might mistime everything. I mean, that's also perfectly valid. I have ADHD, and what helps me is putting all the ingredients in the measurements I need in plain sight, and then do one step after the other using timers. That's good, and I think that's just good in general also as well, because you're getting it right. Especially if you want to get it perfectly right and you don't go that much on feeling, for example. This is the reason you get your kids into the kitchen as soon as they can walk, so don't end up like this. Yeah, I also feel like this is like so far beyond that, right? Like even when I was like a kid, and I had learned some basic kitchen stuff, I suppose, but it's like you still understood how to just, I don't know, boil eggs, you know? Like, damn. He needs some help in managing his symptoms, I think. I have similar problems, yeah. Yeah, this isn't something that's gonna, like, just solve itself, obviously. He needs some kind of help with this, because damn. Number 1, stop cooking. Number 2, contribute to the cost of pre-made meals. Honestly, yeah. Maybe, like, I've heard bad things about those things. That's why I haven't taken it as sponsors, but, like, there are those, like, pre-cooked meal services, you know? That kind of stuff. That doesn't sound like a bad idea. Lazy Dragon, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. But yeah, this damn. Sorry, but you need to stop cooking. If you're able to move into your own place, you can continue your cooking adventure, but please be careful and don't walk away from the stove. Till then, keep it to takeaway. Ready-made microwave wheels or things like sandwiches with cold cuts, cup noodle, etc. Oh yeah, maybe make things like cold cuts, or you know, fried chicken, and only fried chicken. Timer, only fry it, and then when that's done, let it cool off, slice it, salad, done. It's like one step at a time. There is only one single thing on the stove. There is nothing else to keep track of. One single thing plus timer, you know? Or buy pre-fried chicken and just make salads with that, you know? Salads, cereal, yeah. Rice and vegetables, yeah, things that are easy. This is a really easy solvable issue. You just need to stop cooking at your friends. You also need to sit down with him and have a talk. Apologize for all the cooking mishaps and tell him you're gonna stop cooking at his place. And replace the burnt pots. You need to be more cognizant of the fact that you're a guest in his home. Is he paying rent or is he just living there? Friends since middle school. Doesn't say. It doesn't say if he's like a roommate paying rent or if he's just crashing there. I don't think you should be frying things as you can do the basics. Frying with oil can get dangerous easily if you don't know what you're doing or isn't paying proper attention. Yeah, maybe. What this guy needs to do is to learn to make pancakes. Hell yeah. Also, I'm on the spectrum, so cooking gives me anxiety, but I can follow the instructions well enough to not ruin things. Things like boiling eggs are hard for me because they're harder to figure out. I'm not sure if I understand. What's the... I mean, this is me also, like, being completely clueless about this topic, so be patient with me. But about the eggs, for example, what's the tricky part about it? Because usually eggs is just about pre-boiling water and putting them in and setting a timer. Like, you don't actually do anything. You just wait for it. My kid has ASD and ADHD. They have been in the kitchen since they could walk. Cooking and cleaning up after yourself are basic life skills for everyone. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. And it doesn't become, like, weaponized or other people's problems later on. I think here is probably, like, the parents were overprotective. But the problem is that that becomes bad for everyone in the long run, because all of a sudden they have a 28-year-old living at home with them. Which, you know, in this economy and all, not judging if that is the case, can certainly happen. But you would at least expect them to be self-sufficient at that stage. But then, of course, they've been so protective that they aren't, and they kick them out, and then they end up with a friend, and that's a disaster too. So it's like, it's just bad for everyone. I think you said scrambled eggs, which are even easier. I mean, it's a couple more ingredients, I suppose. But yeah, you just stir it around. Hard-boiled eggs, get an electric kettle, easiest way to do it. Just put some in a kettle and cover it with water. Turn it on. We'll shut off after it boils and then let it sit for about 13 minutes. Oh, that's true. Yeah, I can actually go in the kettle. Huh? I didn't think about that. I did that with roommates in college. If one of us cooked, the other one did dishes. I think that's a pretty normal setup. That's what I usually do if you, for example, travel with friends or you're at the countryside on Airbnb or something. And it's like, okay, if one person did the cooking this evening, someone else does the dishes. That's pretty normal. And you cycle it. See if your grocery store sells pre-made meals, fresh or frozen. My local store has like aluminum trays that have servings of protein, starch, and vegetables already pre-seasoned. Yeah, I have this too, locally, where it's like meals that are freshly made for the day in like a little tin thing. There's also like a salad bar and stuff, which is pretty good. You can get a lunch for like $8. It's really nice. Depends on where you live though, but that's usually my go-to lunches nowadays when I'm just at the gym or out walking. The instructions for cooking are printed on there. Heat the oven to a certain temperature, cook for how many minutes. As long as there's a timer to remind you, you really can't screw it up, and the food is good. And the food cooks in the tray, so there are no pots to wash. Hell yeah. Every day I meet people whose lives could be improved that just bought a couple of raw steer chickens every week. Opie the grocery sells you pre-cooked chicken. That is actually good. The pre-cooked chickens are good. I had that the other day. I literally bought one of those chickens, just like pull the meat out, and then you just buy like a pre-made potato salad. It's a good amount of food for like not that much money actually, for like being pre-cooked and stuff. Not that bad. Raw steer is so good. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Grillkyckling! Jajamän! My dad used to buy a whole roasted chicken from the store, and it was always a nice meal. Yeah, exactly. I remember my parents used to do the same when I was a kid. Like, just buy a pre-made potato salad and a raw steer chicken, and boom, and you just serve it. It's tasty food, and it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's okay to make easy meals. Just because something is easy doesn't mean it's bad. Buy one, break it down, then you can get a couple of meals out of it, depending on how much you eat. My mom usually saves one of the breasts to make chicken salad next day. That's also smart. I can't do that, sadly, because I usually eat the fucking whole thing. I think people forget autism is a disability. And as a disability, it works on a spectrum, and just because one person with ASD can do something doesn't mean another person can. Of course, it's very individual. I don't think anyone believes that it's the same for everyone. I think it's just surprising, but I think a lot of this comes from the parents also being way too overprotective for too long. Until, it finally blows up in everyone's face, to be fair. So I think this sounds like a combination of a bunch of unfortunate stuff, to be fair. It definitely is a disability, so hard to figure out your own needs and what will work and what won't. Some people don't teach boy children how to cook. That's wild. That's wild. Just joined, watching on my stream deck. Hell yeah, welcome in. Welcome in. Yeah, so this is absolutely wild. I feel bad for the roommate, though. He's just trying to be a good friend. He's just trying to be a good friend. And his kitchen is being completely destroyed. And smelling like wet trash. That is so sad. This is learned helplessness? Yeah, I think so too. I think it's like, there's of course some underlying difficulty there, with being on the spectrum and so on. But then I think it's made way worse with overprotective behavior from the parent and like learned helplessness that just completely escalates in this situation. I feel for OP, very relatable. In my opinion, just get easy prep foods. I don't know, works for me. Yeah, I mean, I don't cook every day. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I enjoy picking up, like, for lunch today, for example, I was at the gym over lunch. I like to do that because a lot of my stuff is, asleep and whatever, because I live in a different time zone. So after I was done with my own work in the morning, I went to the gym and I picked up a chicken salad on the way back. Like, I didn't cook for dinner today. I mean, I had like a half dinner before stream, and I'm probably gonna have just like a protein shake after this. Hell yeah. Canned soup, my beloved. There you go, baby. There you go. Let's see. It is also getting a little bit late, and I have been streaming for 3.5 hours. My god. I do hope you enjoyed the added democracy today. Also, one thing, before we end off, that I want to do in the near future, when everyone is here. I was thinking about making, like, maybe a weekly stream thing, where I let people tell their stories on our own subreddit, and then we review it together on stream. Like, add a tag, for example, that's like video submission. And it can be like, the worst Karen stories people had, or what's the worst or most dramatic thing you saw at a wedding, something like that. Something like that. I think that could be a lot of fun. And it's like a little bit of engagement, I think, from the community. That's fun. And then people can see their stories and like talk about it and react to it and stuff on stream. I think it could be really nice and wholesome. So I'm gonna set that up together with my mods and stuff to see that we make it work properly. I think it could be a lot of fun. I just wanted to let you know that that is something I have had in the works before I let you go for the day. Yes, indeed. With that said, thank you so much, you beautiful beings, for showing up for this stream. I hope to see you again in the near future, in the next stream or in the video. Have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.